6 straight through Miranda, who's kicked 2, Hall, Freeman, Downsborough and Turley. They've had an open forward line. Their pace has been a worry for the Tigers, and they look good again here. This is Mildenhall. Shot on goal. He's kicked it. They've kicked 7 straight, and Claremont are in tatters. Noel Carter.
Well, that just typifies the play that West Perth have shown in this first 20 minutes of this quarter. They've been able to break away from packs. They've used the ball intelligently. They haven't just given the ball away. Every time a player streaming downfield has had use of the ball, he's held onto it until he could deliver it to a player in a better position or score a goal. And that's been the story of West Perth's first 20 minutes. You can see there the hassle from Derek Hall, quick hands from Turley, and good play by the West Perth recruit from Victoria, Neil Mildenhall, was able to kick a goal from the 50-metre line. West Perth has certainly got their confidence up. Claremont have no answers at this stage.
Well, Mitchell applying a tackle on Lambourne out there. Mitchell came back to claim the ball. It was knocked away from him. Eventually, Gauchi gets it to half forward.
Oh.
Damon was met pretty solidly by Clem. Clem did well, gets it to Malone. Malone inside 50, the kick ill-directed. And Nichols slides across the turf to take the mark. Damon getting back to his feet ruefully. Kicks across the ground, Nichols. West Perth maintain possession. They're finessing. This is Lambourne. He's able to get around his immediate opponent. The umpire's whistle's gone and says he was tripped. They're allowed to play on. Simmons has it for West Perth at right half back. Kicks towards right half forward. The kick lacked depth. Chance for Harvey. He's had his hands full with Miranda. Took a while to get rid of it. The ball has gone out of play, and the umpire calls for a throw in as Malone comes off the ground and Higgins is about to go on. That'll be interesting to see how Claremont use Higgins. Clark at the second attempt. Not an effective knock. Taken by Panizza. West Perth doing by far the better ahead of their half-back line. Simmons has it. The umpire's whistle's gone. And it's going to be a Claremont kick to be taken by their rover Gauchi. But West Perth have been too fast. They're too tall in attack. Problems back there for Claremont, where Brayshaw and to a lesser extent Southern lend their only height to that area. And up against Downsborough, Freeman and Hall, they really have had problems. Now Gauchi from left half back. Very short, but he's found Mitchell. Claremont finding great difficulty getting the ball forward. Edwards checks the company before he takes the mark. Now he goes down in the direction of Craig Downsborough, but Smith is in front of the pack and he's been awarded the mark. The Downsborough brothers playing at opposite ends of the ground today for different teams, opposing teams. Craig at full forward for Claremont and Ian playing in the forward pocket for West Perth. And so far, Ian Downsborough, the only goal scorer in the family. He's got one. Now Smith taking plenty of time over this kick, and he needs to. Claremont need it. We're at the time on point of this first quarter. And Claremont trail by 38 points. It's 32 points now, a much-needed goal to the Tigers. They're 2 goals straight. West Perth is 7-2.
Well, some welcome relief there for Claremont supporters and the Claremont side. They chipped the ball forward that time from the half-back line, worked it forward until they could get it to Smith, who was able to take a good mark in the end and finish off with a good goal. But certainly some respite there for Claremont. They've been on the end of 7 goals straight from West Perth, and we're looking for a lot of relief.
Swans are leading East Perth. Subiaco are leading East Fremantle. And in the other game being played today, Perth in front of South. Back in the middle of the ground here at Leederville Oval, free kick to West Perth. O'Brien has been outstanding in this first quarter. His delivery has been immaculate. Another good-looking drop punt. Miranda at the back. Couldn't hang on. Holmes is there. So is Nichols. Nichols hand passes towards centre-half forward, but stolen by the little Gauchi. Blanketed by Miranda. Picked up by Simmons. Turned back into trouble. Now he's found some space. Hooks towards full forward. Downsborough again. Couldn't hang on. Comes back to him now off Brayshaw. He snaps and puts it through. West Perth can do no wrong. Claremont can't do much right. Well, his second, no?
The second, yes, as you said, the second goal to Ian Downsborough, the West Perth player. Here we saw Simmons took a long time to get rid of the ball. He wanted to use the handball in the first stage. Downsborough was unable to take the first chest mark, but rode the ball fairly intelligently for the crumb and was able to snap a good goal. And West Perth answered that Joe Smith goal quite easily.
Well, Barracoppin would be divided today, wouldn't it? With the 2 Downsborough boys.
Well, the Downsborough family room would be.
It could be a battle there at the moment.
Well, I'd be having $1 each way.
Well, their absence hasn't affected Barracoppin. They've won their first 4 games of the year, and that's 34 on end now for Barracoppin in the Eastern Districts League.
It's in contrast to the Sydney Swans. Well, 8-2 plays 2 goals. Back in the middle of the ground, Higgins and Nelson, even Stevens, taken by Muir. Sweeping hand pass to Hendry. Changes direction. Goes towards the members' flank. Holmes up in front. Twisted by Nichols. Simmons. Miranda. Been a familiar pattern. Turley. Nichols off the ground. Kicks towards inside 50. Panizza kept the ball in front of him. Simmons a chance. Loses it now to Higgins. And in turn, Edwards. Kickett fumbled. Knocks it on towards Muir. He's got back up now from Higgins. Higgins at centre half forward, kicks towards full forward. Downsborough at the back, Clark. Edwards is there for West Perth. And it forces it over the line and out of bounds.
Well, the Claremont forwards lucky to get away with that pushing and shoving there, because there was quite a lot of it going on.
Neesham a bit worried at the moment. 38 points the difference. Nelson in front of Clark. Wins the tap to the side of the pack. O'Brien. Clem is there for Claremont. O'Brien finessing, knocks it on. In comes Mitchell, close to the boundary, and rides it over, in fact. 8-2-50, plays 2 straight in favour of the Falcons, and we're almost 3 minutes into time on in this first quarter.
28 minutes gone as Clark comes across to do battle with Nelson. Clark's playing in the forward pocket now with Higgins on the ball, and Muir is able to get O'Brien and the ball out of play for another throw-in. I think I'd be looking to add to my tally if I was Claremont, not tie things up. While the ball's up there, they desperately need goals. Clark over the top, but it's all West Perth at the side of the pack. Damon looking down towards the centre of the ground. Not a particularly good kick, only little Miranda on the end of it. He's a talent. Gauchi lost his footing as he was about to turn, and that gives West Perth the chance through Curley, close to the line, and the throw-in will take place on left centre wing for Claremont. The margin is 38 points in favour of the Falcons. It's been a devastating opening by them. Turley forced to do the ruck work. Higgins takes clean possession, gets it to Gauchi. Kickett's hand pass was a good one to Ballantyne. He's a long way up the ground. Ballantyne in towards full forward. Downsborough the target. That must be a free kick, surely. Oh, heavens above. Clearly across his shoulder. We'll have a bounce about 40 metres out from the Claremont goal. Craig Downsborough. The eldest of the 2 brothers. Poor old dad, he'd have a bit of farm work to do at the moment, especially if they've had that rain. The 2 boys in town. How are you going to keep him down on the farm? There goes Muir. And Muir, I think, has kicked Claremont's 3rd goal.
Well, the goal was a little bit of an anticlimax after the 2 or 3 free kicks that were missed.
Well, they're just missing free kicks all over the place there. Downsborough, as Wally mentioned, and a blatant free kick on a West Perth player here.
You can see in the replay there.
Edwards, look at that.
It's a little bit high, the tackle, but Muir slipped into the crumbs position, was able to finish off and give Claremont probably that goal they'd struggled for the last 5 minutes. But Claremont, Neesham from Claremont certainly made a lot of changes. We've got players in positions all over the ground that are not accustomed to.
Nelson won the tap, worked out by Claremont. Edwards got it from Muir. O'Brien was working hard. Now a chance for Lambourne. Done some good things in this first quarter. Kicks towards the members' wing. Almost a good mark taken there by West Perth's Curley. Now a chance for Holmes, but he can't find the handle. Knocked it straight to the path of Jones. Jones kicks to the members' wing. Simmons, that's holding the man, umpire. Poor decision again. Miranda, good body work. Nelson goes in hard, and he's penalised for pushing Harvey in the middle of the back. Kick was there.
Definitely there.
Harvey, Nelson, Downsborough over the top, couldn't hang on, recovers best, snaps towards an open goal. Going back is Edwards and also Damon. And Damon will win out. And he's got a paddock to run into. As you can see, runs to the defensive 50. Kick towards the wing on the outer side, though, is not well directed. And the mark taken by Scott Edwards. He brings it in field. That's the quarter time siren. A great first quarter by West Perth. Can they maintain the pressure and the pace? Remains to be seen. 8-2-50 plays 3 straight 18. Downsborough picking in a couple of passages of play. Goal scorers now in this first quarter. Miranda, he kicked 2 for West Perth, and he was very lively. He was well backed up by Ian Downsborough, Mildren Hall, Turley, Freeman, and for Claremont, Clem Muir and Smith, their single scorers. Around the grounds we go in matches around WA this afternoon. Swan District's leading East Perth, not unexpected. Subiaco leading East Fremantle, that would be unexpected. And South Fremantle and Perth in what should be a great game there at Fremantle Oval. Noel Carter here at Leederville Oval this afternoon. A great opening by the Falcons.
Yes, a terrific start by West Perth. We made comment in the box here before the game started how West Perth had struggled to kick goals for the whole season. I think they averaged something like 9 or 10 goals per game. And here in the first quarter, they've kicked 8. And certainly a great start. Their confidence is right up. Their disposal, their willingness to use the player when he's in the better position has been great, and they've definitely had the wood over the Tigers. Very hard to find a good Claremont player in this game so far. They've had a couple of guys that have put in patches. Darren Clem started off well, kicked the first goal in his first game back from South Australia. But they're shining lights. They're players that they need in their engine room to be working, like the Kicketts and Mitchells haven't given anything yet through the centre line. Malone's been well held by his opposition, O'Brien. Turley have been right on top through the centre, so no influence from the smaller Claremont players, and they've struggled, hence that's made them struggle up forward, where Joe Smith's been starved of opportunities, as has Craig Downsborough, the Claremont full forward.
Comments there from Noel Carter. Well, Claremont kicked the first goal of the game, and that was in the first minute of play, really. There was a scramble just outside the square. Damon overruns it. So did Gauci. And Clem kicked a very easy goal from about 10 metres out. But then all of a sudden, West Perth moved into gear, and probably the best West Perth performance, Wally, we've seen for a couple of years that quarter. We haven't seen them that often, but that was more like some of the better teams we've seen so far this season.
Last year, towards the end of the season, they did put a couple of games together and started to show something.
But not with that cohesion that they showed in the forward line in that quarter.
No, well, see, the thing about today's game is they've held onto the ball, they've delivered it when it's been there, when the player's set and ready. When players like Lambourne and O'Brien, Simmons and Hall have all used the ball very, very well. They haven't wasted any opportunities, and the players up forward have given them something to kick to, which has been in complete contrast to Claremont, who've all been standing still, have been waiting for someone else to do it, and they've had no cohesion whatsoever.
One important factor, I think, Noel, that's been missing in previous years and looks to be reinstated in West Perth is discipline.
Yes, well, I spoke to the coach, Geishan, a few weeks ago, and he said that his concern was to get the guys to believe in themselves and to believe that they can win a game and get some discipline, and he certainly installed that into some of these players, and I think they all go hand in hand. When you've got the confidence, when you're playing very well, you don't tend to go and do the stupid things because you're too concerned about winning games and getting on with the job at hand. And there you see a perfect example of the player Lambourne directing where he was going, and the forwards, if they hadn't presented themselves, they knew what to expect, and that's good football. I mean, the kid didn't waste the ball.
Craig Turley back in the side today.
Obviously, he wants to do well. We've seen a bit of fire in Craig's belly. We've seen him attack a couple of players. I mean, he's got, I guess he's gritted his teeth and said, well, I've got to do something. I've got to make these sort of things happen. And he's certainly exciting when Craig Turley gets going. He gives those players up the field like Miranda, young Mark Miranda. We just saw him then. I mean, I think he's 17 or 18 years of age, a good Teal Cup player from last year, and, you know, to launch himself at that mark and was able to take a good mark, kicked a couple of goals for the quarter. But with players like Turley playing very well, that gives these young kids confidence as well.
Marking power too also was dominant in that forward line, wasn't it?
Well, Derek Hall, we should give him a mention. I mean, he's got flew for a couple of marks, presented himself, but he's been very, very good on the ground. And I said in the call that he's probably close to Eagle selection, and he's been named a couple of times as emergency. And he's certainly that's certainly borne out today. He's presented himself at centre-half forward. He's had Peniza on him for most of the quarter, and well, Dollar hasn't had a sniff so far. But the ball's
I've never seen the Claremont defensive unit so outplayed as they were in that quarter for a long time.
Well, normally they're normally
slick, aren't they?
They're normally very good. See, Brayshaw started off on Hall, and he didn't last there very long. They've made quite a few changes, but they've got a lot of work to do, Claremont.
West Perth, 8-2-50. The Tigers, 3 straight 18. Start of the second term. Nelson knocks it down through the hands of Leach. Turley dispossessed. O'Brien, he'll use it. Kick towards centre-half forward. Out comes Freeman and takes a mark alongside his bootlaces. He almost scraped it off the turf. He's 50 metres out, but he's a long kick of the footy. His marking also has been quite outstanding, whether it be in the air or, as you saw then, almost at his bootlaces. Concentrating hard. He'll need a good kick from just outside 50. Drop punt on the way. They contest on the goal line. Rebounds to Higgins, who decides to play for safety, and it goes through for a behind to West Perth.
Well, Peter Freeman probably didn't do himself justice, and he kicked that ball from a long way back behind the mark and only just probably missed the goal by about a metre. So if he had taken up that extra ground, he might have scored that goal.
This is Ballantyne at full back. Kicks the ball in short to Leach. Not too many options beyond that, though. Waiting for Higgins to get into position. He kicks it in his direction, and he was the only player there that was prepared to go for the mark. Simmons could have contested, chose not to. Beautiful kick from Higgins. Is missed by Edwards. It was a bad miss. He's looking for something further afield. Now he has to go over Nelson. In fact, he's gone well wide, looking for Holmes. The bounce of the ball favours Nichols. Nichols back in the direction of Turley. Turley had to go. Clever mark. Plays on quickly up towards half forward. Mifka. West Perth still using the ball well. Very few unforced errors from West Perth so far. The kick is intended for Mildenhall. But there's not a lot of pressure coming from Claremont either. Mildenhall is outside 50. Freeman wants it long. It's too wide for Freeman. Clark up at the back. And I think that's Downsborough. No, it's not Downsborough who's down. Short kick is out of defence is a good one. Hall, is it? Has found Edwards. Edwards decides to take Simmons on. That was dangerous. Hand pass was a shocker. It was at ankle height. And as a result, Claremont lose possession. Long run by Edwards, but ineffective use of the ball. There's Derek Hall. He was the player who was down in that left full forward pocket. See the height advantage he's got over Daryl Peniza in that shot. Nelson did best to Simmons, to Turley. Turley back inside 50 metres. Southern, geez, strong. It was a good mark. Plays on to Peniza. I'm not sure of the wisdom of that. They haven't gone anywhere yet. This is Harvey. Now they've created a loose man. Ballantyne. Closing on him was Freeman. Back it goes to Harvey. That's good backing up by the youngster. Son of the club doctor. Goes down towards centre-half forward. Gauci missed the mark. Was knocked away from Mitchell. Taken by Leach. Chance for Claremont from 50 metres. Good kick. Brayshaw, it looks like, back there, is it? Playing at full forward or in the forward line.
They're swinging their players around. They have a bit of trouble trying to hide some of them because their form hasn't been good. But the normal slick Claremont footwork, handball isn't there at the moment. It's probably the pressure that West Perth are putting them under.
Nelson's controlled the ruck, brings it down to a teammate in Nichols. Now socked by Mifka. Close to the boundary. Coming across Painter, bumped over by Clem. Seems to be the fashion these days with some players, the ponytail wall.
Well, certainly here at West Perth, isn't it? Painter and Zemplis.
I'm sure they'd welcome back one of their ponytail brigade if he was fit.
Good hand pass by Turley. Mifka with strength got it out. Nichols knocks it on. Again, good courage. Mildenhall, Painter. Oh, poor hand pass. Picked out Leach to a nicety. And from the members' wing, Leach kicks the centre-half forward. Edwards from the back. But in front, Damon stands tall. It was Jones, in fact, behind. Damon didn't know which way to go. Hand passes to Turley, in trouble. Hand passes away. Mitchell was there to spoil. Now picked up by West Perth's Lambourne. Puts it out in front of Mildenhall, who's got plenty to do. Both players showed good courage then, Ballantyne and Mildenhall. And the ball ricocheted off their bodies and out of bounds. Game's had quite a bit, hasn't it? Look at that. They both went for the footy. Leach ran into a brick wall. Higgins socketed it straight to Mildenhall. He's bought himself a bit of time. Kicks towards centre-half forward. Hall pulls down a strong mark. Too good for Peninsula at the moment. When he fires, Noel, he's a very dangerous footballer.
Derek Hall, yes. Not a consistent player all the time, though.
Gone for distance. Didn't quite get onto it. Dropped short. Up in front there was Mildenhall. Mark not paid. Harvey Sockers. Clem again off the ground. Freeman's got a foot race on his hand here with Edwards. Freeman traps it somehow, then cleverly gets out of trouble, gives it to Miranda, who snaps from the pocket into the square. Clark pushes his man out of the way, suckered through by Turley, and one behind the result. Hectic passage of play, Noel.
Yes, well, West Perth still using that ball, still playing with a lot of confidence, probably overusing their handball a little bit at this stage, but it's better to go for that, play their shots while things are running reasonably well for them.
Well, that was a good kick in. It found its target, Southern. He gets it to Malone, who's just back on the ground replacing Holmes. Mitchell appeared to be pulled off the ball by Lambourne. This is Malone again. Claremont with the ball in the centre square. High kick to half forward was a shocker, and Edwards goes back and takes the mark. Sends the hand pass right across the face of the ground to accommodate a teammate in Jones. Smith ran him down, forced the miss kick. Chance now again for Claremont, but they haven't got a single forward. That's intended for Gauci, but a player put down after he'd kicked it, and so Gauci will get the kick anyway. It was Edwards. Well, it's a relayed free kick to left full forward.
I appreciate that was a relayed free kick, and that's the right, correct call. But why didn't the umpire call Jones a push in the back when Smith tackled him?
No idea, Noel.
I haven't got any idea either.
Matthew Gauci. I wonder if he's related to Darren. Shoots from about 35 metres. And I think he's kicked truly. That's the fourth to the Tigers. They're 4 goals straight. West Perth are 8-4.
Well, Claremont's really struggled to kick that goal. We've been going about 7 minutes in this quarter, and they've got a score on the board, but a lot of hard work. But the signs are starting to show that Claremont might be able to pull their way back into this game. They've brought on Malone off the interchange bench, and he was on the end of two. That passage to play twice there. You can see the scores from other grounds, but Malone was on the end of the ball there a couple of times and started to push the ball forward. Maybe he can get them going.
Higgins knocked it straight down to Painter, who kicks to the member's wing. He was pulled off it. This is Mifka. Has a good look and with brilliant vision finds Turley. Been a good player so far, Craig Turley. Little stamp of class there as he kicks into the pocket, and Miranda has been most impressive. Mark Miranda. And certainly Osborne Park's produced some outstanding West Perth footballers over the years. Not so many in recent times, though. Miranda didn't get onto that kick. Hall's in the pack, but a good mark taken by Peniza this time in defence. He had 2 to beat and did it well, sandwiched between the pair of them. He kicks to the 50 and finds Leach. Now Claremont looking to build something up on the outer side here. Edwards marks, turns into trouble. Gets around Edwards, though, Troy Edwards. And it kicks and finds Malone. There's a player loose on the half-forward line. It's Brayshaw from 55 metres. He chips into the pocket for Downsborough. Making a contest there is Bartlett. Downsborough snaps, and the kicks are behind only. Hit the post, in fact. Promising move then, Noel, around the outer side.
Claremont are starting to, as I said before, they've started to do something. Malone was in that again, and I think he's one of their prime movers. They just got to, once they get that loose man going, they're very hard to stop. And Brayshaw popped that. That was a bad pass by Brayshaw because he popped it up. He could have run in and kicked a goal himself.
Well, the fullback gave Nelson a big job to do out there.
Sure did.
Finally, Claremont worked it out pretty well. This is Clem from the square. He kicks to full forward. Downsborough. Almost a slips catch. Brayshaw the crumbs. Went the wrong way. West Perth should break it up now. Mifka. That came from Nichols. Curley, Bartlett, and he goes out very wide. Again, Nelson on the boundary. A real boundary rider at the moment. Hucks the boundary with a kick two, looking for Turley. Beaten pointless out there by Kickett. He avoids Edwards and kicks the centre half forward, but West Perth in the way. And the mark taken by Bartlett.
Mark Brayshaw just looking a little out of sorts at centre half forward at the moment, or playing in the forward line, as West Perth come across the face of the ground at Damon. Damon's undecided, now has to kick because he was called to play on up towards centre wing. The ball knocked away from Miranda twice, but running onto it is Mildenhall. He's got Mitchell to beat. Pretty clever player. That should have been a free kick to Mildenhall. It doesn't matter because Lambourne has it anyway, and his kick is a good one. It's found Downsborough. Ian Downsborough takes the mark just inside 50 metres. Take a good kick from there. Younger brother of Craig, who's at the other end of the ground for Claremont. Played as a ruckman for Burracoppin. That's a good kick to the top of the square, a telling kick, but a good mark taken by Southern. Gee, I'm impressed with this fellow every time I see him. Only 18 years of age, but very, very strong and reliable for his age. And he's accepted the responsibility of fullback manfully. This is Gauchi now. Kicks towards centre wing. Clark was the target. Just a little bit too physically strong for Downsborough. Gets rid of Damon. Gets it off to Clem. Clem arrived back at Claremont on Thursday, and he's been one of their better players this afternoon. Smith did well there. Gets it over the line for a throw-in at 45 metres.
Claremont starting to get a little bit of pattern now, Noel.
Yes, they looked like breaking away there a while ago, and we mentioned they were going to start, things had started to happen for them, and some of the players are starting to run. Some of the experienced players have accepted a bit more responsibility, and they look a little threatening now.
They're getting a greater share of the ball. I don't know that they're using it much more effectively. Clem cleverly gets it to Malone. Malone stabs towards goal. That's a good goal. They're going to need to kick all of them to get back into this game. That's their fourth. They're 4-1. West Perth are 8-4.
Well, I suggest that the stinter that Rob Malone had on the bench, the coach might have had something to say to him, because since he's come back on the ground, he's really lifted. And Claremont have got good value for their sorties into the forward line this quarter. You see Malone's kick on the run there after a good bit of work from the boundary line. So
I think I said 4, Noel. It's their fifth, sorry. 5-1 to 8-4.
.52 plays 31. Claremont coming back. Nelson again. Mifka skirts the pack. Hand passes out very wide. That's Curley now. Curley kicks the centre to half forward. Miranda punched away by Harvey. Simmons with him as Ballantyne. Back comes Harvey. Keeps Miranda at bay. And the umpire saw that. In fact, the West Perth player was hanging on, according to the umpire. He was too. Kick to the outer wing. Muir back to the middle. Nelson got a beautiful bounce. Poor hand pass though. Finishes up with Mildenhall. Out wide Nichols. His kick to half forward. Miranda outmarks Harvey and leaves him standing. He's gone for home, Miranda. The kick at goal. Clark in the last line. The kick just lacked a bit of depth, didn't it? Otherwise,
all his energy went into the pace, breaking away.
He certainly backed himself to beat Harvey. Higgins kicks to the Memphis wing to nobody in particular. Damon finds Mifka. That's an old combination for West Perth. The kick to centre half forward finds Mildenhall. Can use it. Looks for Freeman. Good lead. Too fast there for Ballantyne.
Might be a little too far out for him, Trevor, again.
He's gone for the foot pass into the pocket, Simmons, and he's taken the mark. He got about 2 metres then on Downsborough, and he has got very good pace, this young man. An Eagles recruit, as you see. In the football world at his feet. He'll shoot from 45 to 50 metres out. And he's shooting for West Perth's 9th. Drop punt on the way. Is straight and makes the distance.
Well, West Perth
maybe needed that goal just to stop the Claremont flow.
I was just going to say that West Perth needed to kick a goal to steady that flow of Claremont. They'd kicked 2 or 3 goals on end. We saw, I mentioned that Freeman might have been a little bit too far out. And no sooner as I said that, the smaller the smaller West Perth players had offered a lead, and he was able to shoot it into Simons, who was able to kick the goal.
13 minutes gone in this, in fact 14 and a half minutes gone in this second quarter, as West Perth try and take the ball forward. Plenty of pressure being applied. It was O'Brien who got it in the direction of Turley. Turley's clever enough to outmaneuver his opponent. And Henry, this is Mifka. He's just outside 50 metres. Southern in front, Freeman over the top. Miranda going back, and Southern rushes it through.
I don't know whether you see it on the screen, but Peter Freeman only needed that ball another foot higher, and he would have been able to sit on Southern's shoulders and take the mark, and that's what he was waiting for. The ball just came a little too low.
Southern kicks in and finds Beresford, who's just come back on the ground. He goes by hand to Henry. Henry towards half-back. Not a lot happening for him. Edwards is the target. And Edwards, that's the West Perth version of the Edwards. Tony Edwards came crashing across the top. Scott Edwards underneath it. Nelson arrives to do the ruck work for West Perth. Brayshaw will oppose him. West Perth did best, but Simmons allowed it to slip through his legs. That was well done by Muir. His hand pass wasn't particularly effective. Beresford pushed in the back, in the opinion of the umpire. And Beresford with the free kick. He was going down. Higgins has it. Now, his disposal has been fairly poor so far. Let's see what he does this time. Kicks the ball well inside 50. Oh, no Claremont player in the contest. Smith wasn't interested. The mark not paid. Gee, that was a comedy of errors as far as Claremont were concerned. Downsborough was kept out of it. I think it was Clem who was left to do the aerial work. But Smith playing at centre-half forward, I'm not sure that he has the physical attributes necessary for that. He's a talented player with a big leap, but tends to drift in and out of the game. And there was a case where they needed someone to be able to go back into the pack and at least give a contest. This is Curley, kicks it around the outer side of the ground. He's looking for the boundary line because there was no teammate up ahead of the play, and there'll be a throw at left half forward for Claremont.
.59 plays 32. Nelson and Higgins. Good contest. Overrunning it, you saw, was Mitchell. That's Curley with a sweeping hand pass. Close to the boundary is Kickett.
Claremont have been able to close down a couple of the West Perth running players to some extent. I think O'Brien's been quietened, and Turley a little bit through the centre, and that's given them their half share of the ball at this stage.
Mildenhall, a hand pass out in front of Nichols, who went back looking for O'Brien. Chipping it was Clem. Claremont break it up. Brayshaw's out in front, takes the mark. Tony Edwards behind on that occasion. Brayshaw's had more touches in the forward line. Up goes Downsborough, couldn't hold on. Mitchell, beautifully done through the traffic. He's got time to steady, and from a standing start, the kick on goal is good. Well played, Kevin Mitchell. Claremont edged back. They've kicked 3 goals to 1 in this second term so far in the 18 minutes of play.
Well, typical Kevin Mitchell goal there, but I had said before, Claremont starting to square up the ledger in the middle of the ground, and that's where they're getting the drive from there. You see Mitchell dodge a couple of tackles, weighed up his options, and took what he thought was the best one, headed for goals, and was able to kick a good 50-metre goal. And it's good play there. It's nice to see Brayshaw get on the end of the football for a change. He's been doing a lot of chasing, and he actually set that goal up.
9-5 to 6-2. Nelson wins a decisive ruck knock. Turley couldn't control it. And I think we'll have another bounce. 21 points is the margin now. It was 32 points at quarter time. So despite the fact that they've had a large percentage of the play, there's a long-time Sandover medalist back in 59, I think it was, wasn't it, Brian Foley? It comes to Kickett. I was about to say that despite having a lot of the play, Claremont haven't really made a big impression on the scoreboard. Good kick, Downsborough. That was Clem. And Clem and Leach are probably the only 2 Claremont players who have been prominent from the outset. Now, this is Craig Downsborough, who's failed to kick a goal so far in this game. He's Claremont's leading goal scorer so far this season with 12. He shoots at goal at the southern end. Oh, he's made hard work of it, but he may have just sneaked that through. Claremont now have their 7th, I think it is, just waiting for the scoreboard to change. Downsborough has his first, and we've played nearly 20 minutes in the second term.
Here's that midfield dominance I started to talk about, where Claremont are starting to halve the ball. Kickett moved it on to Clem. Clem was able to, with a very clever pass, find Downsborough, who kicked his opening goal for the quarter. And Claremont back within 15 points after looking down the barrel of a nice old hiding at quarter time, about being able to lift. Neesham's changed a few players around, obviously instilled some more positive instructions to some of the players, and they've started to bear some fruit.
Former general manager there, Kevin Bradley of West Perth. You saw Brian Foley a moment ago. Mel Whinnen's also here today as some of the old faces return. They would have enjoyed what they've seen so far, but some danger signs now. Brayshaw goes right across the half-forward line. Good vision. Good lead by Downsborough. Coming into the game now, Brayshaw and Downsborough combining well there. It's only 15 points the difference now. This will bring it back to acceptable levels, I'd say, for Gerard Neesham. Good kick by Downsborough. He's hooked it just slightly. Distance was no worry. Accuracy was.
Trevor, if you change the jumpers over, you'd swear this was the pattern of the first quarter. Claremont doing all the attacking now, sharing the ball around, using it, holding onto it until they can use it to their best advantage. And West Perth gone back to the chasing mode.
Downsborough from West Perth this time. Ian Downsborough. They're monopolising the television screen at the moment. This is Mifka. Goes to the members' wing for Curley, who doesn't let him down. Curley and Turley, 2 Downsboroughs, and Valentine in the game today.
2 Edwards.
And Miranda. That's going to work out all right for West Perth. Milton Hall's taken the mark. He's got back up too. Streaming down the ground is Lambourne. His kick, though, is spoilt by Southern. Knocks it into the path of Muir. He knocks it back for Scott Edwards of Claremont. He goes right across the ground and finds Panizza. He's got time. He needed it. And with a neat foot pass, finds Kickett.
Kickett is at right half back. Hendry. They've maintained possession. Now 50 metres going against Mifka.
He didn't obey the umpire's instructions to move back. He'd already crept up about 5 metres. Not good play by the experienced because West Perth had already slowed the game down and picked up a lot of the Claremont loose players.
Smith on the lead this time for Claremont. Good mark. Well, he took it at the second.
Well, you called it before the umpire blew his whistle, Wally.
Probably, no comment. There's no doubt it was a mark.
You might have been hoping we was.
No, I've no need to hope. I was just thinking how magnanimous the West Perth supporters have suddenly become, or how less magnanimous they've become now that Claremont are getting closer. Here's Smith, kicking from 50 metres. Taking plenty of time, Joe Smith. Only 14 points in this game at the moment. He gets very close to the man on the mark, and as a result, kicks it too high. Downsborough's in front, but it's thumped away from him. Clem has it. That was a throw. The grandstand agrees with me. Painter has it. Cross to the back pocket, and Mildenhall. Mildenhall moves his way up to right half-back, trying to draw a player. Muir wouldn't go to him. Does now, and that's put West Perth under pressure. Curley cornered back there. Horrible kick. Mildenhall with him, Smith. Well played by Claremont. They applied good pressure in a difficult situation there where they were outnumbered. Kick smothered. This is Ian Downsborough for West Perth. He's played pretty well this afternoon as Lambourne kicks into the centre of the ground and finds Curley.
Curley was the player that smothered them, Wally.
And he's run on strongly. Todd Curley.
This is not what West Perth were doing earlier. They were playing on and going for their shots, not waiting for things to happen.
Very indecisive at the moment. Edwards took a good mark. Valentine provides the run. He's called on by Higgins. Oh, look at this. Clem is 30 metres in the clear. They've had to leave Downsborough in the square. That's the way the kick will go. It's not a good kick, but it's good enough. It was fairly high, which gave the defence time to close on Craig Downsborough. But they couldn't quite get there in the nick of time. Well, they couldn't quite get there in time.
Well, what happened was Jones left a little bit late. the other player had made the decision to go, but Jones didn't go with him, so consequently Downsborough was left on his own for too long.
That's Downsborough's second, and it's Claremont's eighth. They're 8-3. West Perth are 9-5.
Well, Craig Downsborough kicked the last 2 goals for Claremont, and Claremont have been able to get this ball moving. You can see running through the back line, kicking long. Clem was able to get on his own by a country mile, used the ball well, and once again, that small midfield play of Claremont set that goal up with Downsborough finishing off. But certainly we've lost some run from the West Perth engine room there in the middle. Some of the players have gone a little quiet, and Malone and the likes, Kevin Mitchell, Dale Kickett have been able to lift their pattern a little bit through the centre and give their forwards more opportunities.
Claremont have kicked 5 in this quarter. West Perth 1. They won it out of the middle again too. Claremont through Higgins. Good tap. Malone a chance. Underground hand pass looking for Leach. This is Mildenhall. Sweeps it out wide. Nichols gets rid of it in a hurry. Chance now here for O'Brien. Picked it up well. It was difficult. It was a bouncing ball. Turley at the back. Umpire picked out a kick here for Hall of West Perth. Interfered with by Panizza. Now 50 metres against Daryl Panizza.
Against Malone.
No, the bloke behind him. Bit tough, Wally.
Well, that's where the rule's a little bit ludicrous, isn't it? But I mean, that's the application of the rule. It's going to cost a goal.
Malone ran across the mark, did he?
Ran between the player.
So brings Hall up to 30 metres directly in front. West Perth need a goal here. The kick from Hall is accurate. So that stopped the Tigers run a little bit through a 50-metre penalty. And a goal to Derek Hall brings up his second for the match. 65 plays 51.
Not only stopped the Tigers' run, but what it's done there is the good work that Malone's done for this quarter. I thought he was the player that really lifted Claremont. That's really taken him back a peg or two in my calculations, because there you can see they scored some other grounds, and South Fremantle got away from Perth after being square at quarter time. But Malone's sort of taken some off the ledger now with that indiscriminate piece of work.
Higgins, who's probably giving Claremont a better share of the ball from these bounce downs. It's not gone by Mitchell to Leach. Leach is able to get out of one tackle. He tried to do a lot, lucky not to be penalised. Malone's kick is smothered. Turley's hand pass wasn't bad. O'Brien hurriedly, but it lands with Henry. We're into time on in the second quarter. Perhaps time for one more goal, one more scoring opportunity for either side. Henry, who really does take a long time to get rid of the ball, puts it to centre half forward. Downsborough's the target. Opportunity in front of the pack for Muir. He went without it. Beresford didn't. Not too many options, though. Terrible kick, smothered by Turley. Goes to Clem's advantage. He knocks it straight to Jones. Jones breaks it up for West Perth as he kicks towards centre half forward. Loping towards the ball is Simmons. Steadies. Kick carries Nelson, and Clark judges at best. Wasn't good disposal by Simmons. A good kick then would have been a certain goal for West Perth. Hand pass from Clark. It's a good one to Beresford, but no forwards at all. The kick now down in the direction of Mitchell, who came in from behind Kickett. It wasn't intended for Mitchell, but it's come off. Good mark. Kevin Mitchell will kick from about 50 metres. It'll take a good kick from here. He is a good kick, of course. Look at that. That's Claremont's 9th. They're 9-3. West Perth are 10-5. So they get back the one they conceded through that elementary mistake at the other end of the ground.
Great play there for Kevin Mitchell's second goal for the game. You see Beresford streaming through the centre. Good play there initially from Adam Clark. And Mitchell, that wasn't, as Wally called in the call, that wasn't his ball. He read the play very well. The ball carried Kickett and his opponent. He was able to take that good mark and finish off with his second 50-metre goal for the quarter.
Lambourne has done a good job on Mitchell, but he's very elusive, very creative. As Downsborough wins that tap out of the middle, Nelson's having a spell on the forward line. Higgins feeds Muir. Muir wobbles it towards half forward. Going back was Painter, with him was Kickett. Downsborough's also there, back comes Kickett. With him Bartlett, pulls him off the footy. No free kick there. Mildenhall working hard, gets it to Simmons. From the half-back flank, he kicks to the middle of the ground, and that's a good pass. Finds Downsborough. Ian Downsborough from the centre. Not a good kick, though. Lands with Hendry. Hendry's kick towards the wing. From behind, the flyer there was Damon. Shirley's hand pass. Smothered by Clem. Behind the play, Damon and Clem get mixed up. The umpires finally picked out a kick.
I think Clem's taken them all on today.
Yeah.
What brought back some Eagles aggression from Adelaide.
What caused that was Nichols was the offender for West Perth, who took Clem, and Clem just took the nearest, who happened to be Damon.
Yeah. The blue resulting in a kick to Turley, who finds Valentine, West Perth player.
He's out of date, isn't he?
Kick towards centre-half forward, and Valentine. So Valentine to Valentine as the half-time siren wraps up a very good first half of football, dominated by the Falcons in the first quarter, and in typical Claremont fashion, they came back just as hard in the second term, with Joe Smith doing some good things at centre-half forward. 10-5-65, plays 9-3-57. Little Leaguers coming out. Wally Foreman with the goal scorers to this point.
Well, firstly for West Perth, most of their goal scorers, of course, in the first term when they kicked 8 of their 10 goals, but 2 each to Miranda, Hall and Downsborough. That's Ian Downsborough. And 1 each to Freeman, Simmons, Turley and Mildenhall. The goal scorers for Claremont, there you see some of them. The rest of them, Mitchell has 2, Craig Downsborough has 2, then 1 each to Gauchi, Malone, Smith, Muir and Darren Clem. Half-time, it's 10-5 to 9-3, 8 points in favour of West Perth.
Other ground, Swans in front of East Perth. They're running away with that by the look of it. Subiaco, the surprise packets today, leading East Fremantle, and South, obviously a very good second quarter to lead Perth, and that game being played at Fremantle Oval. Noel Carter, your summary to half-time.
Well, a half of 2 different types of half there. West Perth at the first quarter played very well, kicked 8 goals, Claremont to 3, and then in the second quarter we're only able to kick 2 from a defensive against a defensive Claremont that really tightened up, and Claremont were able to kick 6 for the quarter themselves and put themselves right into the game. They were looking bad at quarter time. Obviously Nisha made some instructions, spoke to a couple of players, and one player he must have spoken to was Rob Malone, because I thought he came out in the second quarter and really lifted Claremont's ratings. I thought he was the one that got their players around him going, and then he brought players into the game like David Muir hadn't been seen, Dale Kickett, Leach, and the big fella Higgins. I thought he showed a lot of drive and a lot of a good common sense play by playing that ball straight down the middle. And as the ball was being pumped down that middle corridor I've spoken about before, Joe Smith and Brayshaw were able to get on the end of it, and if they couldn't mark it, Kickett was there to pick up the crumbs, and they kicked themselves back into the game. So a fluctuating game. West Perth would be a little bit disappointed with their quarter, but they shouldn't be disappointed for the game, because they've really matched it with Claremont. We know how Claremont hold onto the ball and like to use it, and West Perth have gone at the body rather than at the ball, and they've had some good players themselves, especially in the first quarter. Turley's been good throughout the game. I thought that Mildenhall came into the game in that quarter after being quite early, but O'Brien had a real good first quarter, and then died out in that quarter. So this half-time break will give some of those players a little bit of a breather, and they'll come back out firing. I think we're set up for a really good second half.
Comments there from Noel Carter. 10-5 plays 9-3 in favour of West Perth here at half-time. We'd like to tell you also that when we cross back from the football, there'll be about a minute where Metropolitan viewers will lose transmission due to some technical fault. That will be corrected as soon as possible. Hope you're enjoying our coverage of this game here from Leederville Oval. We'll be back in about 15 minutes from now.
You're watching ABC's Saturday Afternoon of Sport, bringing you the best of Western Australia's Football League on your national network.
And we'll bring you right up to date with today's AFL results in sports news with Steve Rebillard in about 10 minutes. But first to school sports. And this week we meet Australia's latest superfish, Sydney swimmer Stacey Gartrell.
Thank you, Gordon, and welcome back to Leederville Oval here, the home of the Falcons for the last year. A lot of sentiment around at the moment. I think that's why maybe some of the old faces are coming back, Wal, just to have a look at this last year of the West Perth, as they are known here at Leederville Oval.
Don't look at me when you say that, old faces, but yes, there have been a few here today, haven't there? And Tania will be talking to one of the legends of Leederville Oval in a few moments' time. But certainly they played with terrific spirit and with a high degree of skill and endeavour in that first quarter to kick 8 goals to Claremont's, what was it, 3, I think, and they've set up the opportunity now to go on and win this game. But whether or not they can sustain their football will be the interesting point, I guess, as Daryl Panizza leads Claremont out onto the ground here at Leederville Oval. It's interesting to see the number of Victorians in this West Perth side, Trevor, and it could almost be a case for us to rename them. Their original name, I think, was the Victorians, wasn't it, at West Perth back in the late...
going back a fair while now.
1890s or whatever it was, yes. But I was just looking at it. I mean, Mildenhall from Terralgan and Harris, who's not out there today, of course, from Wodonga. And there are a few others.
Nichols.
Yes, Nichols is playing. Lambourne is another.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got a fair spread now of players who Jeff Geesham was obviously familiar with in the league that he came from. And that has... Reynolds is another who's out injured at the moment. But those players have added to their playing depth, and hopefully if they can maintain some momentum up forward, and that has been their problem, Trev, for the last couple of years, their forward line. In fact, they've kicked more goals to half-time in this game than they've kicked in 3 of their previous 5 games. I think they had 7, 7 and 9, or 5 last week. 2 7s and a 5. Well, they've kicked 10 to half-time today. So that's a very good sign for them. And
an amazing turnaround, wasn't it, to see West Perth kick 8 goals to 3 and then Claremont claw their way back into the game. Quite an amazing contrast, the second quarter compared with the first.
But you reminded me of a game last year when we saw them do exactly the same thing in the first quarter, and I can't remember who it was against, but it was here at Leederville, and they played scintillating football for a quarter and then just lost control of it.
Well, we talked about some of the sentiment around West Perth. Tania Armstrong is downstairs, and she's talking to one of yours and certainly one of my favourites, Mel Whinnen. Thanks, Tania.
Mel, you're back here at Leederville today. I believe you're a guest of Jeff Geesham.
Yes, that's right, Tania. Very pleased to be back again with the boys, and they're doing pretty well at the moment, so quietly confident, so we hope we finish up with a good result today.
You're the games played record holder with the club. What's your fondest memory of that golden era?
Oh, I think the premierships are probably the fondest memories of footy, particularly when you work so hard for a whole year, and if you're able to carry off that premiership, it's always a lot of fun and a lot of celebration.
And your relationship with Bill Dempsey, you're 2 of the most talked about players here at the club.
Yeah, I guess we're pretty good mates. We don't see one another as much as we used to, but we still keep in touch, and we still like to talk over old times.
Now, what's the biggest difference in today's football from when you were playing?
Well, I don't know whether there's a lot of difference. Certainly at AFL level, I think the players are a lot fitter and a lot faster. They train a lot harder than what we did. I don't know whether they get any more fun out of the game. At WAFL level, I think it's a good standard of footy today, a good couple of competitive sides, and so perhaps at WAFL level it's not a great deal of difference to what it used to be.
They tell me you were an expert at the drop kick. That's one part of the game that's changed from when you were playing.
Yes, it certainly has. I think that's as a result of the game having got a lot faster. I guess the drop kick went out before I even finished the game because of the way the ball had to be moved around so quickly. So it's well and truly a thing of the past.
Looking at today's match between West Perth and Claremont, a bit of indecision crept into the Falcons' play that second quarter.
Yes, it's a bit hard to work out what difference the wind played in the second quarter. I thought the boys were very desperate. They fought very hard for the ball. They played very well in that first quarter. They tended to be very tentative, and obviously Claremont went it a lot harder in that second quarter than they did in the first. So, yeah, a little bit disappointing in the second quarter, but be pleased to see just how they go in this third quarter now. The third quarter is often a crucial part of the game.
Well, this is the club's last year at Leederville, a new ground and a new name. What do you think of the move?
Well, I guess from an old-timer's point of view, it's a little bit disappointing because you've got a lot of memories from here at Leederville, but for the benefit of the club, I think it's a good move. Certainly the club needs to build up its strength, its playing strength. It needs to build up its supporting strength, and I think that's the way it's going to do it. So we're all looking forward to the move to Joondalup.
Thanks very much for your time, Mel.
Thanks very much, Tania. Good. Thanks very much.
Mel Whinnen there with Tania Armstrong. And Wally, to see him coming out of the centre with those long raking drop kicks and picking out a full forward was the real great days of West Perth footy, wasn't it?
It was, Trevor. I get great delight out of reminding Mel when I see him and his family at the Careen Tavern on a Saturday night having tea that I used to actually have his number on the back of my West Perth jumper as a lad, and he loves hearing that.
Well, it was not only your number, it was your size.
Show of his age. Well, I also tell him that he was the only fellow small enough that...
But he was such a fair player too. I mean, he was
a terrific footballer.
He was a fair, honest footballer who rose to great heights. 10-5 plays 9-3. The game is on again here, and West Perth need to lift their rating in this third term if they're to hold out the determined Tigers. And the Tigers will take the first kick out of the middle with Muir. He goes looking for a half forward. Going one-handed there was Gauci. Comes down to kick it, run down by Valentine. Picked up by Clem. Hand pass to Higgins from centre half forward. Kick lacks depth. Nelson couldn't trap it. At the back is Beresford. Getting tangled up with a teammate in Malone. Gauci finds some space. Hooks on goal. One-out competition there. And a good mark taken by Jones, opposed by Smith.
Just too strong back there, Greg Jones, on that occasion. His clearing kick is not a good one. Muir went one hand, doesn't matter. That's Mitchell on the scoop. He's 40 metres out, goes back on goal. He's a devastating player if you let him go. That's his third. Claremont draw closer. There's only 2 points in this now. It's 10-3 to 10-5. West Perth in front. Excellent kicking by both sides, but it seems, Noel, that Claremont to the side with the momentum.
Well, it looks like it there. You see Jones kick that out long. Desperation here by Muir. Milton Hall couldn't pick up Mitchell as he ever elusive as he is. Does it all the time. Kicks those long, crucial goals, and that was good play. A good effort by Claremont to start off and get that goal back so early in the quarter. They've started, interestingly enough, they've started with Joe Smith at full forward. Jones has followed him, and they've started with Dale kick at centre half forward.
Valentine earned a free kick for a high tackle as he came charging through the middle of the ground. Makes it off to Milton Hall. Good smother by Clem. Rebounds to Nelson, who kicks it straight into Clem again. Didn't really want to smother it that close. Valentine again gets a high tackle. Well, Valentine doing some good things in the middle of the ground there. Tied it up on 2 occasions. And his kick is smothered by Mitchell, but Mitchell was over the mark. According to the umpire.
Who is this umpire?
50 metres in favour of Milton Hall now.
All he did was jump in the air.
Some of the decisions are baffling at times, I must admit, Wal.
Wow.
Now, Valentine will come up to take this.
What's it taking? Why is it taking him so long to get up there? He must be shocked about the free kick himself.
Well, he's saving his energy.
No one's really sure where the mark is. They're still asking the umpires.
It's been all Valentine in the first minute of this third quarter. That drop punt is offline. And one behind only? Yes. West Perth hanging on here. They do need to find some system again. Get some more run back into their game. This is Valentine this time. Outside his own defensive 50. Drop punt to the wing. From behind it was Mifka. Knocked it down to a teammate. Now Turley to Simmons. Nelson. Nelson kicks towards the full forward area. Fickle bounce there for Southern. Freeman went in, tried to soccer it. Chance for Miranda. Diving in with good courage down there was the Claremont defender. Comes back to Leach. Leach to Clark. And the Tigers out of trouble.
Clark under pressure from Simmons. Gets a hurried kick to centre wing. Valentine chops it off. Kicks back to the half-forward line, and Miranda is in front of his opponent, Leach. Well, Leach, it is standing the mark. I don't think he's his opponent. This is Turley. They need more run from Turley this quarter. Short kick into the pocket is marked by O'Brien. Darren O'Brien at right full forward will kick from just inside 50 metres. He's on a fairly acute angle. But they're good pockets here at Leederville Oval. You see a lot of good goals kicked from the pockets. Not with that particular kick, but the ball is still alive as far as West Perth are concerned. Higgins gets the hand pass wide of the pack. Harvey has it now. Looks towards the members' wing. Well-weighted kick. Leach on the end of it. Clever kick. It just cleared Simmons. Leach is at left half back for Claremont. This game well and truly alive now. 10-6 to 10-3. West Perth in front. Gauchi, that should not have been paid.
He had the second use of it.
Oh,
well and
not
truly.
burned. He took it off hands, clearly. There it is again. In fact, we had a better view of it than the camera on that occasion as Mildenhall breaks it up. We were really side onto it. Mildenhall chips the pass in towards Freeman. He fooled everyone. Freeman hooks back. What a great goal. Boy, that looked as though it was going to go almost straight across the ground when he threw it onto the boot. And when it first left the boot, but it came back brilliantly. Clever kick from Peter Freeman. And West Perth get their 11th. They're 11-6. Claremont at 10-3. Good response from the Falcons.
A good response, and that work came while we were talking about maybe that disputed mark. Mildenhall was able to chip in and take one of those short passes that Claremont used the ball with, and when they're working around midfield, stole it and went forward. And we saw again that he used the ball. Even though the ball didn't hit Freeman on the chest, he pointed in his direction, was well weighted. Freeman was able to run onto it and kick a real good goal. And once again, we've got a situation where West Perth are using the ball and they're running on and not stopping and starting in the centre of the play.
This is one man who can use it. He had a good look that time, though. Finally works it out. Painter kicks the centre half forward, and Turley. Turley from just outside 50. It's all Claremont, though, going back. Clark could be an expensive miss, but he's got time to steady. Rebalanced and kicked across the face and found Hendry.
Look, he's so indecisive, isn't he?
He hangs on to it a long time, I agree, Wal. This is Valentine, centre half back for the Tigers. Lays it off out very wide. Scott Edwards is out there. In pursuit is Valentine. Edwards, and he's full measure. Kicks along the boundary. Up is Tony Edwards and knocks it away from Beresford. Number 25 for West Perth.
Isn't it a great spectacle, our game, when the play's running on, players play on at all costs, and you get this running, flowing game. When it goes back to that stop-start, kick and mark, it looks a whole lot boring, doesn't it?
G. Smith did well then to beat Nelson, but Mildenhall got it down towards Tony Edwards. Mitka dispossessed by Mitchell. Nelson slaps it. Valentine caught by Edwards. This is Scott Edwards now, who got a high tackle. Umpire was right on the scene. It's Clem, in fact. Too far out to score. He squares it up. West Perth outnumbered. Comes down to Beresford. Beresford shrugs the tackle, snaps and kicks it.
Great effort.
He had a few to beat, Noel.
I don't know how he got through there.
But the eye
obviously got a different compass to us, because that was a great effort to thread his way through that pack. Or it wasn't just one pack, it was two or three. It was a good kick by Clem because he weighted it well. Downsborough was on the end of it, couldn't hold. And here we see Beresford, who got through two or three players there, arms, was able to kick a nice goal that gives Claremont, or puts Claremont within 2 points of West Perth.
There's the situation in the other game. Stouts in front of Perth, Subiaco in front of East Fremantle, and Swan District's well in front of East Perth. Higgins on the ball for Claremont. Nelson is still there for West Perth. Higgins does best, but Mildenhall with a chance to take it away. In fact, it was Painter eventually who took possession. Now the clearing kick from Simmons goes towards half forward, where Claremont had the numbers, but they punched it straight to Turley. Turley kicks into the pocket. Freeman at full stretch couldn't quite rake it in. Southern, oh, this is dangerous. He's going across the goal, but Henry will mark. The medalist, medal winner in 1990 and runner-up, sorry, third in the Prendergrass last year, Brendan Hendry, as he goes right across the face of goal. Well, Claremont have paid a very heavy penalty for silly football by both Southern and Hendry. They play on quickly, West Perth, and Del Borello takes the mark 40 metres out from goal.
He's just come on to Del Borello. He's been warming the interchange bench.
Why would you do that when you had the ball in tied up defensively, where Southern had it up against the boundary line? Freeman was on all fours, and he played right across the face of goal. Hendry wanted to continue it. Del Borello's missed. Oh, he's put it out of play on the full. That's a bad miss.
Well, it's bad play by Claremont, a bad turnover. What Henry needed to do was, when he got the ball, take off, because that's Claremont's style of play, to switch play and go the other way. But he became hesitant. And that's what I said before. That's West Perth's downfall in the second quarter, where they stopped and didn't go on with the running game that they had going.
Muir clears the ball from the 50-metre line up towards centre wing. Turley's the only player there. The ball took a favourable bounce as far as Turley was concerned. Stayed in play for him. He gets it back to the half-forward line. Chance at the back of the pack for O'Brien. He spears the pass in short. It was too short for Simmons, but he did well to take it on the bounce. Another chance now for West Perth as the kick goes towards full forward. Freeman is there. Good mark behind Southern.
It was a good mark, and I rate Southern as a pretty good player. I know he's young and inexperienced, but a very good player. And for Freeman to take a mark in that manner, that's an excellent effort.
Well, Freeman has kicked 2. He's one of 4 West Perth players who's kicked 2 goals so far. Oh, look at this, Mildenhall. The kick didn't carry. Now West Perth have got some problems. He's tied up there by Edwards. Bad play by Freeman. It was bad disposal. Valentine gets it back into the pocket. Southern could almost have been paid that. Miranda gets it to Mildenhall. He's caught holding the ball. No question about that. But West Perth brought that on themselves.
Doesn't Southern back himself for a full back? I mean, in a normal conservative fullback would have destroyed that ball, but he went for the mark. I mean, he's a confident young player, and it's good to see.
Gauchi from the back pocket to the 50. Edwards from behind. Up in front, Muir's been paid.
He could have punched that to the goal square, Noel.
You called it.
He should have. That's not it. Well, he's gained about 15 metres to Higgins. Now they can set something up. Working his way to the front, Kickett. Kickett's kicked towards full forward. Smith in front from behind. West Perth in Jones. Smith being held. Mitchell, Kickett, very clever. Swung as he kicked though. But the snap might be good enough. No, it isn't. Quick transference of play there, Noel.
Well, you don't need to give a Claremont side that's got good ball handlers much of a sniff, and that's what West Perth did. They made an error. The turnover was there. They moved it quickly. Kickett. Mitchell almost pulled the goal off.
Magnificent kick by Bartlett back into play, knocked away by Higgins from Nelson. Good work there done by Painter. Valentine puts a strong tackle on his opponent. The umpire says he's being held to him. That was Leach. Well, you work it out.
Well, that player can't pull that ball back in underneath him again. Wally, Trevor.
Here's the square. Oh, I thought it was going to be the square up. No, I agree. It was a West Perth kick, the first one.
And now a free kick to Higgins. That's a better looking drop punt by Higgins. Bartlett from behind, fists away from Downsborough. Chance here for Gauchi. He's in front of Mildenhall. Mildenhall worrying him out of it. Holding the ball, cry the West Perth crowd.
They only have one rule up here, one decision they've ever made.
That's all we ever learned. I think it was holding the ball. He was camped over it like he was going to be there all night, Gauchi. Nelson, good tap. Turley beats 2. Haynes was the second one. Hand passes inboard. Edwards back to Turley. Might have overdone it a bit. He finally gets out of it to Mildenhall from the half-back flank. A torpedo up to the members' wing. Miranda can't bring it in. 2 points in favour of the Falcons. Miranda's been a very classy half-forward flanker for the Falcons today.
One player who's working very hard in this first 10 minutes of this quarter has been Craig Turley. He's worked very hard for his side.
Higgins takes clean possession to Panizza. West Perth look a lot better, Noel, when they use the ball quickly, don't they? Instead of finessing with it, they try and play the Claremont style. They get messed up every time. Nelson with a good mark at centre half back. Kicks now towards centre half forward. Hall is the target, who's gone out of the game. This is Ballantyne. Ballantyne will look for something on the other side of the ground. That's Claremont's usual form. There was nothing there. Panizza has it. He's in the centre square. Now Mitchell. Mitchell has got away from Lambourne since quarter time. He's gone very wide. Spears the pass in towards Smith. Good kick. Couldn't quite take the mark. Jones was in fact paid the mark belatedly. I don't think the umpire could see who had the ball. His kick's a shocker. It's out in front of Mitchell. He was cornered by Lambourne, goes back to Smith, and this time Smith marks. He could almost have been off too. He was moving around. Smith is almost down on centre wing, so there's a long way to go yet for Claremont. West Perth lead by 2 points. We've played 13 minutes in this third quarter. Downsborough, great leap. Gauchi, clever hands. Clem, 40 metres out. Terrible kick. 1 point the difference.
Clem was cruising through that pack there. I think he would have been much happier if he had a bit of Claremont player in front of him. Saw that there was 2 West Perth players in the goal square and had to go for distance and pulled his kick.
Bartlett signalling. Not a good kick off the side of the boot. Might be touch and go. Edwards brings it in. No, he couldn't. He ran out of bounds with it.
Uncharacteristic for Bartlett to kick off like that, because he's a very good kick normally.
Miranda off.
Ian Downsborough coming on.
That's Del Borello.
Sorry, it was Del Borello, I'm sorry, yes.
Del Borello off. Muir working at the bottom of the pack. Crashing through, or trying to, is Curley. Malone won the front berth. Back comes Muir. Curley there also. Pushes it out. Painter. Mildenhall. Lambourne. Got a bit of pace. Kicks to centre half forward. It's pretty open. Harvey.
Good mark. Great mark. He's lifted himself. Young Harvey as well, after Miranda giving him a little bit of a stick early.
From Scotch College, Richard Harvey. Yauchi's from Aquinas in the Claremont side.
Oh, look.
He's got very short. And to the opposition. O'Brien, just as silly. Two glaring errors there. And that could be 50 metres. It should have been. That's not good by Neil Mildenhall. Can turn a game with silly acts like that. Panizza, Damon was the flyer. Yauchi trying to shepherd Damon, and Damon's given away the free kick.
What about the first one?
Yauchi goes to half forward. Downsborough up. With him was Bartlett. Malone caught by Mifka. Higgins gets it away. This is Kickett. On it goes towards Downborough. Coming to meet him, Curley. Put him down, but Beresford finishes up with it. His snap is offline. Out of bounds on the full. Free kick to West Perth. They lead by 1 point halfway through this third term.
Good defence there by West Perth. Each player left a man, went up further up the ground and picked up the loose. And they put some pressure on Claremont in the end and forced the error.
Claremont have got to the edge of the precipice, but they just can't go the next step. There's still a point in arrears. This is Mitchell to Higgins. He needs to do something. He drew a couple of players, which probably wasn't a bad move, because now Mitchell has a little more space. They're very indirect, but Clem has been able to maintain possession for the Tigers. He's too far out to score. He's about 60 metres from goal. Nevertheless, he can make life uncomfortable for the Falcons' defence. Downsborough is up. No one down for Claremont. And as a result, Jones clears, but he clears straight back in the direction of a nest of tigers. Or a pack of tigers, I suppose it is. Kickett is on the end of this.
Oh, my God.
And now a relay kick against Valentine, who allegedly took Scott Edwards late. Jeff Geeshan looking a little concerned.
Oh, yes, it may have been there.
It wasn't may have. It was there, Trevor.
So Dale
Pretty
Kickett
soft.
goes looking for Downsborough deep in the pocket. Well, it'll take a good kick from there. We know he is a good kick, particularly over a distance, as Mark Brayshaw prepares to come on. Neesham countering moves being made by Geeshan at the moment. Ian Downsborough went back onto the ground, so he immediately put Clark onto him. As Downsborough lines up. That's a beautiful camera shot. Oh, well, what a kick to level the scores. Really is an example of Claremont just not being prepared to take the next step, or it appears that way anyway. Previous shot went out of play on the full. That one hit the post. It's 11 goals, 6 apiece, and we've now played 17 minutes in the third term.
You had a bird's eye view of that one, as Mildenhall is indecisive. Which way will I go, he says. Finally, Nelson breaks. That's the way the kick goes, and Nelson doesn't let him down. Silas West Perth, Tyro kicks towards half forward. Turley's there and takes a clever mark. Great mark, Craig Turley. The drop punt is meant for Freeman. It was being held by Southern. Play on the call. Southern goes back to Panizza. Good shepherding by Hendry. Bought Panizza a bit of time there. Kickett's got plenty to do. Gets away from Painter. Has a look. And now they can build something up here, the Tigers. Malone. Edwards. Edwards cuts inboard. Running full distance. Now he's been forced a bit wider by Mildenhall.
Oh.
And legged, according to the umpire.
It's reportable, isn't it? Deliberate trip.
You think it was deliberate?
You have another look.
It was the only piece he could reach.
He made a dive for him.
It was a tackle. It's the only piece of Edwards he could find was his leg.
Edwards goes for the foot pass. Downsborough. And that's a good mark. Strong mark. Opposed by Tony Edwards of West Perth.
Yeah, vice-like mark there from Downsborough.
Both Downsboroughs have played well today, respective sides. And not too often you see brothers lining up in opposite jumpers.
Claremont looking a little threatening at this stage.
Yeah, West Perth hanging in there, though, aren't they?
Well, Downsborough can put them in front now. From 50 metres, the drop punt on the way is clapped through by the Claremont forwards. And that's his third goal. The Tigers lead by one straight kick.
Well, after kicking for goal previously about a minute ago, Downsborough hit the post there from 50 metres straight in front. After taking a great mark, he was able to convert. Here you see the mark again, a vice-like grip on that ball and was never going to drop it. Was able to finish off a good goal. So West Perth are behind for, I think, probably the first time for the day.
No, I think Claremont kicked the first goal,
except for the first scoring shot. And now let's see what sort of character they can show.
Well, it's interesting, Noel, that since quarter time, West Perth have kicked 3 goals to Claremont's 9. So it's been one-way traffic. Mitchell lost his footing at the crucial moment, almost knocked it away effectively, taken by Mildenhall towards half-forward. Miranda is there. He's got 2 to beat. He's pretty clever. Hendry goes back. He can relieve the pressure now for Claremont. He has actually conceded ground, and the kick is so high that it's given Hall a chance. Panizza is there with Hall. Hall did very well. Hendry's come across to lend support. Again, he wants to go across the face of goal. This time he gets rid of it quicker, but still it wasn't a good pass. Gauci was able to get it onto Clark. Clark gets the hand pass away to a teammate, Southern, who really does back himself. He's well up the ground from fullback, as is Clark from the back pocket. If West Perth can rebound, there'll be problems. And now a relayed kick, is it? I didn't see what that was all about, Trevor.
I think he...
Brayshaw wants to go quickly. The umpires let them, and Clem takes the mark at right full forward.
Mildenhall was a culprit.
There's no doubt that Clem's
softest relay you've ever seen. Disgraceful umpiring.
No doubt that Clem's going to be an acquisition for Claremont, Noel. A little bit of experience in the roving division. As he shoots at goal, it seems to be coming back, judging on the umpire's movements. So Claremont suddenly find themselves 2 goals in front at the 20-minute mark, just beyond the 20-minute mark of the third quarter. Been a powerful resurgence by them. They move to 13-6. West Perth are 11-6, and the ball now is squarely in West Perth's court.
There we saw, that's the relay free kick. Now, there was nothing in that. He threatened to do something, but never did it. Clem was on the end of that kick, and as you said, kicked a good goal, and will be a great acquisition for Claremont because I think he adds the experience run. I mean, they've got a lot of experienced players in stop-start positions, but not in a running position, Claremont. I think this guy will add a lot of lift. He's played with distinction in Adelaide for 4 or 5 years, and will be a great asset to the Claremont Football Club.
Chance here in the middle of the ground for Valentine. He gets it across to Downsborough, kick smothered by Malone. He got it out quickly to Scott Edwards. He was cornered by Simmons, but got his kick in. The half-forward, Damon's there. Almost a clever mark opposed by Clem. Mildenhall came in to tie it up. Now Jones slung as he tried to hand pass, and he was throwing the ball as he tried to hand pass away.
That's the 3rd or 4th one today, and the first one that's been penalised.
The kick by Gauci to Downsborough. Standing firm down there was Curley. Beresford now pushed over by Edwards. Clem wasn't far enough. Snapped by Muir at the back, Brayshaw, but knocked through by Nichols. Good defensive work.
Yeah, great play there by West Perth. I think West Perth have played into Claremont's hands a little here. They've put an extra man into defence, and consequently, when they go forward, they haven't got enough runners running up to get there to even the numbers up. And really, Claremont have started rebounding from that centre line and half-back line, and Geeson might have really played into Neesham's hands here.
Now, Valentine made a shocking mistake. He tried to play on, kick was smothered, and then his manhandled kickett, as you saw. So he made 2 glaring errors that could prove very costly.
Well, Kickett's been threatening without doing it.
Takes a good player out of your team, doesn't he? You've got to watch him.
Kickett from 50 metres on the angle. Drop punt on the way is a good-looking drop punt indeed. Doesn't quite carry. Nelson pushes it over. Another behind to Claremont. They really are peppering the goals at the moment. Clem and Downsborough, the last 2 goal scorers, gave them that lead. Curley finds Nelson. Nelson finds Valentine. I wouldn't make the same mistake again, son, although he wanted to. He would find yourself sitting on the bench.
You're making him nervous, Trevor.
The kick to the wing. Up they go. Miranda was in the pack. Curley, with him is Valentine, and they force it over. Curley's had flashes of brilliance today. He's used the ball intelligently.
Valentine off and Del Barello on, Trevor.
Higgins gave Nelson a nudge. He'll take the free kick for the Falcons right in front of the members. Well,
Yes, he's at right centre wing. Spears the pass down towards half forward, and O'Brien.
No talk.
Downsborough kept it in play for O'Brien. They put it out in front of Del Barello, but it runs away from him. Throw in just inside the 50-metre line.
In contrast to the first quarter, Noel, now playing the boundaries and not going down the middle.
That's right. No confidence. But yeah, playing right out wide instead of that direct play that they had going as Higgins comes off and Joe Smith goes back on for Claremont.
Clark taking his turn on the ball for the Tigers. Henry not able to go through the pack. Ian Downsborough hooks it to the top of the square. That's a good kick. Almost the mark to Freeman. This is Curley. He was well and truly trapped. Del Barello, Milden Hall ducked into the tackle. Good umpiring that time. And we'll have a bounce, I would think, at centre-half forward for West Perth.
Maybe a fault in his game, Milden Hall, Noel. He's inclined to duck the head.
Well, perhaps looking for the kick or trying to elude the tackle, in fairness to him, but it wasn't paid. Del Barello at the side of the pack. Turley, who has played quite well this afternoon, and O'Brien has kicked the goal.
Oh, he's a clever player, O'Brien.
That's a handy one for West Perth that makes sure they stay in touch. Had Claremont kicked the next goal, if they'd kicked their 14th at that stage, then I think West Perth would have been demoralised. But a very timely goal for the Falcons.
Good work underneath there from Del Barello, Turley. O'Brien, being a natural left footer, was on his right foot, swung back into the play and kicked a good goal. But West Perth, as you said, you've got to keep kicking those goals to stay in touch. They've struggled since quarter time. They've only kicked the 4 goals, and you know that's not a good effort from their forwards. But as we've seen in the history of the season so far, they've only kicked 13's the biggest score they've kicked for the season. So they're not doing too bad on those grounds.
Milton Hall, you've got it in the centre, got it to Turley, you've got it to Miranda. Nearly gave away 50 then, Harvey. Miranda wants to go. He sets it up for his forwards. Freeman, Smith out of...
Oh, he's paid to Shepherd.
Freeman was held out of it.
He's an aggressive backman, Southern, but he's inclined to give those sort of kicks away at some stages.
Freeman tried to go for it.
You see, he didn't have his eyes on the ball, Southern. He had his eyes, he was checking out where Freeman was and holding him out. You can't do that unless the ball's within 5 metres.
Comments from Noel Carter as Freeman lines up. From 45 metres, the drop punt is as straight as a die. So West Perth come back, and perhaps as Freeman brings up his third, that is the character you were looking for, Noel.
Yes, well, bad error there from Southern, but you know, you do the crime, you've got to serve the time, and that's what Freeman's made young Southern do. He's paid his penalty for that infringement, but West Perth holding in, equal there. As we said, 13 goals is their best score for the season. So maybe we can have a look at the other grounds and see that Subi have really run away from the Sharks. Perth are catching up, and Swan District still got that game in hand. So West Perth really making a game out of this.
Only 2 points in it now as Smith does the ruck work for Claremont. It's taken away by Muir. High kick. An ineffective kick as far as Claremont are concerned, although the bounce wasn't bad. Damon has it, lost control on the turn. And the throw-in will take place at left half forward.
Spent it before he had it, well.
Yes, 13-8 to 13-6. Claremont lead by 2 points. Boundary throw-in on their left half forward flank. Nelson is there. Smith is with him. Smith gets rid of Nelson. Legal in the opinion of the umpire. Interesting. Gauchi and Damon. Damon wins out, but hand passes straight into Smith. Gauchi tried to go through the pack and gets away with it.
There's that war cry again. The only one they know are in West Perth.
Limited vocabulary, you think, Noel. Holding the ball.
Ball.
It is one more rule than we know, than South Fremantle know. That's the only thing.
Smith again got in front of Nelson that time. This is Kickett. He's got no support at all. He doesn't need a lot. Look at this.
Beautifully done.
Nah, he's done a lot.
Oh, it came back to him.
He'll tell you he did that deliberately. Painter didn't know where it was. Downsborough didn't have it.
Oh, they pick them up on us, don't they, these umpires? We just get a good game going, get it flowing, and the umpires put an axe through it.
He delayed the tackle, though. You'll see this.
He did. It held lingered, as we say, didn't it? But anyway, Downsborough has the kick. He's shooting from about 35 metres out. Fairly acute angle, about 30 degrees, with his side leading by 2 points. That must have been the siren, was it? I didn't hear it. But that's what the false start was all about. The umpire held his arms up, so a fairly important kick now. The last scoring opportunity of the term, and he's missed. He's hit the behind post, so no score. And at three-quarter time, Claremont lead by 2 points after they trailed by 32 points at quarter time and 8 points at half-time. So we're set for a very exciting climax to this game, an important game between 5th and 6th on the ladder. West Perth are 5th, Claremont are 6th, and it's Claremont who have their noses in front at three-quarter time.
Well, for Claremont, it's Downsborough and Mitchell who have been their leading goal scorers. Clem's contributed with 2, and for West Perth, Freeman's kicked 3, and Miranda and Ian Downsborough have 2 apiece, along with Derek Hall, who's drifted out of the game too. Noel Hall, he's been quiet since half-time.
Very much so. That quarter was very quiet compared to Hall's first half.
So, the game is on here at Leederville Oval. We may yet be in for a very close finish, with only 2 points separating these sides. Swans leading East Perth, Subi leading East Fremantle, and South in front of Perth, who are fighting back down there at Fremantle Oval. Well, you'll see West Perth had a great start, then Claremont came back, and a very even third quarter, with both sides throwing themselves in with no fear at all in that third term, and one could imagine this game could get a bit willing in the last quarter, Noel.
Well, I think you've got 4 premiership points on the line now, and both coaches will be going for broke. There's no more holding back. There'll be no favours asked in this quarter, because we've had what we've had is a really good game. We've had some good kicking, good marking, plenty of skills. Sometimes they drop away, but that can be expected. You know, when you take out all those better players that are playing at a higher level, but the younger players coming through, we've seen some good young players unearthed today. Miranda for one, young Harvey, they're playing on one another, 2 good players of the future. But I think Mitchell, Kevin Mitchell, Dale Kickett, those more experienced players that lifted Claremont in that quarter, and even with David Muir after a stint on the bench or coming off interchange, he came on. Peter Higgins has been pretty strong. Blokes like Beresford, Ballantyne, and even Southern played quite well, except for that error when he did give the free kick away to Freeman. On the other hand, I thought for West Perth, some of their play, O'Brien still rolling pretty well, Craig Turley doing enough, but instead of, when they were playing very well, West Perth, they had the ball and they just kept going, and it looked like they were told to play on, and nothing else mattered. You know, that consequently made things happen. When they play bad, they go back into stop-start football, getting a free kick remark and waiting for someone to move in position. We saw a couple of errors from O'Brien and Henry from O'Brien from West Perth, Hendry from Claremont, and other players costing turnovers in the end, resulting in goals from either side. So but the amount of errors hasn't been a lot. The football's been quite good, and we're set for a really good last quarter.
Noel Carter with his comments there. And some of the highlights of the third quarter, that's Gauchi who found some space. Smith and Jones.
Greg Jones done a real good job on Smith today. We've talked a lot about Joe Smith, but I don't think we've given enough credence to Greg Jones and the game he's played. But here he is, the will of the West, Kevin Mitchell, the instigator of that quarter's revival, or the instigator from Claremont's revival, I thought, from quarter time onwards. A hard man to keep down, a perennial player. I just looked down at the stats. He's only played 87 games for Claremont. You would have thought he'd be in the 100-plus category, but it's certainly a great player. And even if you keep him down all day, he'll bob up 2 or 3 minutes and kick 2 or 3 really decisive goals. And that's the type of player Kevin Mitchell is.
He's a very good defender who can keep him out of the game for the entire 100 minutes.
Well, I think we've mentioned Painter's been good on him, but he hasn't been, Painter and also Lambourne, Lambourne, Painter's been on Kickett. They've been very good, those West Perth defenders, but the Claremont, the type of players these 2 boys are, they've been able to get away for 2 or 3 minutes and kick those decisive goals. Mitchell's kicked 3. Kickett hasn't kicked a goal, but he's looked very threatening, as we said in the call.
Darryl Panizza very thoughtful as he listens to coach Jared Neesham. The West Perth fans would be wondering just what might unfold in this last term. That's Leach who delivered the ball to the wing. Damon in the pack. And
that was our disputed mark, Trevor.
He was third man in the queue. It was certainly touched. But he got away with it. It happens a lot in football. And you can't really blame the umpire there.
Well, that was his resultant kick that Mildenhall stole in, so maybe that was a message from higher up above. And
this is a good snap.
Oh, wasn't it a great snap?
Freeman, he's kicked 3 goals in the game.
Well, he was their leading goal scorer last year, Trevor, with 44, and the league's leading goal kickers only kicked 48. It was Edwards and Caton, I think, wasn't it? It was the other one they tied. But it's interesting to see when you look at the goal scorers for West Perth last year. The leading goal scorers were Freeman with 44, Dukowicz 18, Harris 16, West 16, Zemplis 15 and Cullen 13. Only one of those players is actually playing today. And for Claremont, the leading goal scorers were Morgan with 36, Gerine 33, Green 20 and Gilbert 14. And none of those players are playing today, Noel. So
well, what's that mean, Molly?
I don't know. The changing face of WA football. I'm not sure what it means, but Freeman's the only sole survivor.
Just talking about Freeman as Jeff Geeshan surveys his players, sending them out after the 3/4 time huddle. I think if I can be critical of anything, he's had his hands on the ball a lot more, a fair bit, and hasn't been able to capture the ball or bring it into play. And that's the only critical thing I can say about him, because his enthusiasm's really great.
Thanks, Noel. And Freeman heading back to full forward. Tania Armstrong's been listening to Neesham and Geeshan. What do they have to say at 3/4 time? They look fairly animated, Tania.
Yes, Trevor, both coaches really want to win this game. Gerard Neesham, Claremont coach, said that they are keeping West Perth in the game. West Perth haven't got there by themselves. He said wants them to man up at the boundary throw-ins and says keep running as they haven't done in the past 3 weeks, and that West Perth will crack at the end of the game. Jeff Geeshan wants the side to kick long to the square, where Derek Hall and Peter Freeman will hopefully take the mark. And he said their game plan was for each player to be accountable for one man. He wants them to stick to this in this last quarter and go with them and keep the pressure on.
Was that your father who rang 6WF this morning asking what ground you'd be at?
No, and I didn't pay him at all either.
Tania Armstrong with her comments on this match here from the coaches.
Got her own fan club, hasn't she?
She has. You've got 3 of them up here. 84 plays 86 in favour of the Falcons, in favour of the Tigers, as Wally Foreman takes us into this last term from Leederville Oval. And Wally, I've got a feeling we could be in for a very close one.
It wouldn't surprise me to see West Perth win this, Trevor. I think they've got everything to play for here. This is a crucial game for both teams. The margin is 2 points in favour of Claremont at the start of the final quarter. West Perth kicking to the left of your screen in this final term, as neither ruckman contests that bounce down, and unfortunately for Turley, he grabbed Adam Clark's arm as he went for the ball, and it was seen by the umpire. I guess that was the unfortunate part. Clark with the first kick out of the centre for Claremont. Gets it inside 50 metres. First to it will be Mitchell. Tries to soccer it to his own advantage. In fact, puts it out in front of Leach. Leach goes back infield to Kickett, who's playing at centre-half forward. He's tried to do a little too much. Mitchell is there. He is very clever. That ball is coming around the boundary line. Smith is in front, but the ball knocked away cleverly by Jones. Still in play, Downsborough. The umpire letting things go here. Malone to the front of the pack, and Mitchell feigned the hand pass to Kickett. I'm not sure whether that was intended for Malone or Gauchi, but they've both got plenty of time. Oh, what's Gauchi doing? It will land at the top of the square, and it may have been touched. Comes to Clem, and he's missed. Gee, that's a bad miss too.
Shouldn't have missed that.
Well, that's a bad bit of play all round from both sides.
It was a host of errors in there. Jones puts it back into play, and I'd say that's a pretty safe way to go. Nelson, who kicks around the boundary and finds Turley. Some experience there. Turley also hugs the boundary. Simmons the lead. Now that's well done by West Perth to get it down to the wing. Mildenhall's on offer in the middle. He's ignored that. Wants to go a bit longer. To half forward. Downsborough's in the pack. Off hands to Hendry, who runs into Del Barello. Gets it away to Valentine. Goes back to Brayshaw. And upfield to Scott Edwards. So Claremont now out of trouble momentarily, as it lands with Clem. Clem from the wing, kicks towards the pocket, and Malone in front of Mifka. Mifka's had a fairly quiet day. Malone from outside 50. He's looking for Smith or Downsborough. Downsborough flew. Smith couldn't get through. Off the ground by Edwards. Now he's got Kickett to beat, and Gauchi. Gauchi from the pocket. Hooks it around the corner.
2-on-1.
West Perth outnumbered, but Nelson's at the back. Went for the hand pass, and now Jones just hand passes it through. And West Perth under severe pressure down there.
Damon's injured.
Yeah, he is. He's limping badly now. It's going to be Jones who'll bring it back into play for West Perth.
Damon got a broken leg to go with his broken arm.
He's in trouble.
Still wouldn't come off.
4 points is the margin. Hope he's insured. Sure he is.
Oh, no.
Terrible kick. Missed kick to the worst player they could have missed kick too, although he's let him off the hook.
Well, you would have backed him from that 50 metres on the run, wouldn't you?
Well, these could be expensive errors by Claremont because they've had the chance to kick the first goal of this this final term, and they've had 2 or 3 chances to kick it. They've missed, so at the moment the margin is still only 5 points. Miranda takes the mark. Nelson has it towards centre wing and Turley. With him is Muir. Turley did best. He's not out of trouble yet. Mildenhall running hard. Now a chance for West Perth. Horrible kick. Panizza's left his man. He needs a good bounce. West Perth have the numbers on their feet, but they're not able to take it away.
Well played by both players there, Noel.
Yeah, good play. Desperate. Yeah, very, very desperate. What West Perth needed to do was hold it in. Claremont were trying to clear it, so I think West Perth won out in the end because they've been able to hold it in their forward line.
13-6 to 13-11 as O'Brien's snap-on goal under pressure floats across the boundary line for a free kick to Claremont. Panizza will take it as Valentine prepares to come back on. West Perth going to make a change. Clark's the target here. He was able to get rid of O'Brien, but illegally in the opinion of the umpire. The free kick is with O'Brien. Players leading into the pocket. Freeman is the player he'll want.
Go long.
We'll have to go long now. You called it,
Go long. He can kick the footy.
It's a good kick. It'll land in the square. Hall was up in front. Downsborough was in front. Hall has it. And Del Barello has kicked the goal. Well, Claremont have paid a price. Perhaps not the ultimate price, but they've paid a price for those misses at the other end of the ground. And it looks like Freeman is the player coming off. He's going straight down the player's race. That's an interesting one. He obviously forgot to do something at three-quarter time, Noel.
Maybe he lost his contact, Squally. But a great goal there by Angelo Del Barello, the former East Perth rover.
Doesn't kick the easy ones.
No, he doesn't normally. Not renowned for his goal-kicking ability, but rode that pack very cleverly then and was able to put that goal on the board and give West Perth a slice of the lead. Not a very big slice, but it's there. I really think that West Perth have the fitness to run over the top of Claremont. I think Claremont have got the brilliance, but I really believe that West Perth are the fitter side.
A bold statement. Miranda's kick into the forward line has been marked by Hendry. I think this game is wide open at the moment. Both sides are in with a great chance. It's been a topsy-turvy game. Hendry finds Downsborough, or is it Southern? Southern it is. From centre half back. Kick it. Couldn't mark at the back. Lambourne, good vision. Del Barello's on the loose, 55 metres out. He squares it up, he's looking for Painter, and he's found him.
West Perth are going back to do what they do best, having a look before they dispose the ball.
Well, he could have just blazed away there, but he had a real long look. In fact, he delayed the kick so long, he was in danger of being touched. She's getting Wally into focus. Painter stabs and kicks it. West Perth by 7 points.
Well, we don't see Painter kick many goals, more of a defensive player. But here we see Del Barello break loose, and this is great vision. You see him look back almost 90 degrees to see Painter coming up that centre corridor. Was able to take a good mark and kick a good goal. As we've said, Painter's main job today has been to shadow kick it. He's done that with reasonable flair and was even able to go on to the... Actually, they've even moved him away from kick it now and moved him to the forward line. So this might be a good move by Geeshan.
Chance for Claremont to take it out of the centre. This is Holmes. We haven't seen much of him today. Or was it Clem? It was Clem, I'm sorry. It's with Gauchi. He was caught. Malone's hand pass was ineffective. Turley has it. Down goes Gauchi, taken out by Damon. The kick along the boundary line for West Perth will be chopped off by Valentine. And that ball now has gone out of play.
We mightn't have seen much of Holmes, but we've seen a fair bit of Craig Turley today, and he's been very, very good.
Wasn't Holmes either. I made a mistake. It was Clem, and we've seen plenty of him. Nelson is there, and Clark is with him. Clark got his fist to the ball, but it will land in the nest of West Perth players. That's Curley. Over he goes.
He's played a push in the back, the umpire. The crowd called it.
Free kick is with Todd Curley.
Oh, yes.
At left half back.
And he cleaned up the bench.
That's the Claremont bench too, isn't it?
The Curley kick.
Taking plenty of time. Gets around kickett. Not many do that. Not many try to do it. Down towards the half-forward line, and Clark, too tall in the pack. He's at right half-back. Goes into the centre square. Terrible kick. Chopped off by Milden Hall. Chance here for West Perth. Miranda has it.
Oh! How do you get around there?
Too easily done. Kicks towards full forward, where Hall is injured. They're leaving him on the ground. He can't chase. Down goes Southern, and he's injured. He was met solidly by Freeman. Southern back on his feet as Claremont bring it out of defence. Not a very good kick, but Kickett is on the end of it.
They're going in hard. This has been a top game of football. He's feeling the effects. Southern and Hall are both injured down there now.
So's Freeman, because Freeman came off and now he's jogging back towards the interchange again. I saw Valentine going crook on the boundary line.
Clark runs into Milton Hall, spills to Gouchy, back to Clem. Clem off the side of the boot. Curley's got a lot of work to do. Closing is Smith, and Smith runs it over.
Freeman's going off, Hall is limping, and Southern's going to come off too. No, he wants to stay on.
There's a few players feeling the effects of a tough game of footy. Nelson beautifully palmed to Mifka. Sweeper to Damon. Damon from half-back. Goes looking for Downsborough. Punched away by Brayshaw. Brayshaw.
There seems to be a dispute on the bench down here. Valentine's going crook. I don't think that Freeman can come off because there's been a mistake with the interchange. I can see West Perth's interchange players going crook. The players going crook, and we can't get a ruling.
Well marked by Del Barello. We'll leave that confusion for a moment because Del Barello's taken a good mark, opposed by Hendry.
What's happened?
He's gone square across the ground, and a good strong mark has been taken by Jones.
Well, Valentine is still arguing in the there's Valentine arguing with the interchange judge.
Perhaps Tania might be able to find out what's going on down there, but see, he's very, very frustrated, and they've had Freeman up at the line 2 or 3 times, so there's obviously a mistake. They've crossed over and done an illegal change earlier on in the game.
This is Jones. Tania knows the details of that. We'll cross to her in a moment. 50 metres out, the defender has kicked a beauty.
Oh, great goal.
Massive kick from Jones. And now West Perth have thrown down the gauntlet to Claremont. Can they come back? Tania Armstrong, what is that confusion on the boundary?
Thanks, Wally. The confusion came when Jeff Valentine came off the ground. He didn't correctly go through the interchange, which is clearly marked by the orange witch's hat. So there's a bit of debate going on down here, but he can't go back on. That's the ruling.
So Valentine's out of the game. Here's the rules.
That's a sensational incident, isn't it, really?
So they're down to 19 players, basically. But they've got plenty to play for now, the Falcons. They lead by 13 points. This is Nelson. Gets them going again. Charging at the ball was Harvey, who didn't appear to have it. It's taken by Del Barello. Kicks towards full forward and Freeman. Southern up over the top. Now he's hurt his hand, Southern, I think. He's able to get the ball at ground level. Gets it to Brayshaw. Brayshaw hands passes out in the direction of Hendry. Hendry's under pressure.
Throw.
Play allowed to go on. Edwards has it. Scott Edwards. Kicks down towards centre wing and Mitchell. Clark's about to come back on and Southern will go off for Claremont. That's a blow for the Tigers. But West Perth finishing all over the top of Claremont at the moment as Mitchell kicks into the centre. Silly kick. Gee, that was asking a lot of whoever that was. Leach it was. He had to contend with Nelson. And now West Perth had the run of the ball through Damon. And really does look as though the steam has gone out of Claremont's challenge. West Perth have grown another leg as O'Brien kicks inside 50. Up goes Hendry opposed to Del Barello. Southern's trying to come off the ground. The ball's following him around. This is Leach. Leach runs into trouble. He was confronted there by Miranda. Hurried kick to Kickett. Kickett's able to elude Turley. Kicks high to the half-forward line. Smith is the target. Jones up over the top. Jones first back to it, looking for the boundary line. Smith, in fact, recovers best. The ball is out of play.
Smith saw them coming in.
A great effort by that Jones boy too, because he's just kicked that last goal from the centre half back, or almost in the fullback position. He's playing on Joe Smith. West Perth have got two cripples in the full forward line. Both Derek Hall and Freeman are almost out of commission. So,
and Sutton has just left the ground. A little bit of confusion, but finally Simmons has got it, and he's got a long way to go. Simmons has run through the middle of the ground. Drop punts of beauty. Pater couldn't hang on. Panissa knocks it to Hendry. He goes square.
This bloke.
The wisdom of that.
When's he ever going to look forward, Henry? Always looks sideways. Higgins was on his own.
Cornered. Well done by Valentine. And Valentine has tied it up. Sutton's off. He's got a lot of injuries, too numerous to count. O'Brien just didn't work this out well enough, did he?
He sort of...
Henry.
Higgins caught, dispossessed. Painter with courage going in there at bootlace level. Anything could have happened, but he certainly tied it up, as did Valentine. Look at that. You'd need nerves of steel to put your hand in there, Noel.
Hands of steel.
Higgins knocked it down. Brayshaw dummies around O'Brien. And from the boundary, kicks towards the members' wing. Nelson should mark. Was too far for him at the finish. Clem and Damon. Damon was being held. Lambourne runs into Clem. The ball being held to him, says the umpire. West Perth, 102. The Tigers, 89. And there's still plenty of time left in this game for either side.
Leach goes off and Holmes goes on for Claremont.
Plenty of time left, but I don't think we're going to have enough players in the end.
13 points is the margin in favour of the Falcons. Turley's holding the ball, surely. Tried to get through 2 tackles. Smith knocks it to Clem's advantage. Hurried kick. No, it was out of play when he took the kick.
He's out of play now. Been a good game of footy, Noel.
Oh, it's a very good game. Very hard. Is that because West Perth are in front?
Oh, that's one of the reasons.
Throwing it right half forward for Claremont. Nelson can't do anything with it.
Fancy, Craig.
Lambourne can't either. And we're going to have a bounce. It's pretty tough and unrelenting at the moment. It's not going anywhere. That won't worry West Perth because they are 13 points up.
Could have been a kick there to Claremont.
15 points is the margin. Sorry, 15-minute mark of the final quarter, and 13 points is the margin as Damon takes on Holmes.
Oh, too much. Oh, in the back. Oh, he nearly went too far.
Well,
he tried to do a little bit too much, but
yeah, he did. He had more than one chance to get rid of it before that.
He had some steam up though.
Oh, and there's a good Shepherd that took a Claremont player out. O'Brien met Malone, I think it is. He's down. He didn't see him coming.
They're the ones that hurt the most.
I did say this would get willing, and I think that's unfolding now.
Throw in it, left half forward for West Perth.
Oh,
and now another Claremont player down.
Yes, but Mitchell, his own man took him down. Mitchell went straight after the
Gouchy again,
infringing player before, and unfortunately, Kevin Mitchell knocked his own man down.
Malone and Gouchy, both in the hands of the trainers. That's Malone.
That's the Damon Malone incident.
It was after that.
Yes.
That's not when Malone got hurt. It was well after that. Gouchy is in a spot of bother. The player's been stopped while the doctor, Clemmer doctor, comes out, who in fact is Richard Harvey's father. There's Rob Malone.
He's very groggy, isn't he,
He's
Malone?
going off, so Leach will go back on. And
well, I can definitely,
there's Matthew Gouchy.
I can definitely vouch for you that Gouchy was collected by Kevin Mitchell.
He was surrounded by his own players when he went down.
He's okay now. Well, he's not particularly well, but at least he is moving. And that's good news.
This is how they'll play for some time now.
This is not good for West Perth. I thought that their momentum was picking up.
But can't see it being too good for Claremont either, really.
Well, not with losing 2 players as well. That means
2 players KO'd.
Because they were someone else was injured, weren't they? I'm just trying to think. Southern can't come back, obviously. So they're going to finish this game 1 short, I would think.
Well, that'll probably match up with West Perth because they've got Hall sitting in the goal spare.
Gouchy's being taken straight off the side of the ground, which means he can't come back on.
I don't think... Surely Gauci can't go on. He's been concussed.
What's the umpire told him to do? Put him on a stretcher?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that way he can come back on.
You won't see him again in this match. He'll be lucky if he remembers the match.
Well, I didn't see what happened there, and obviously we're not going to see it again. Matthew Gauci.
This is like the Roman Colosseum.
Well, that's bad luck for Claremont. 2 fairly serious injuries in the space of about 30 seconds of football. And both players assisted from the ground. Claremont now 1 short. So that's going to make their chances of getting back into this game well nigh impossible, I'd think. There you see Daniel Southern lamenting his bad luck on the left. Robbie Malone.
He might have a broken wrist, you know.
No, it's his shoulder. He's pointing to his shoulder. And his shoulder is strapped. The wrist was strapped before the start of the game.
Right.
There's the boundary throw in. The game's underway again. Higgins takes it. Gets the clearing kick back into the centre of the ground. There's the spare man, Curley. A few West Perth players showing, doing a bit of shadow boxing out there at the moment. Enjoying this. The ball goes back towards half forward. Del Borello. Panizza in front. Hall is on one leg. Panizza with a hand pass to Clem. Clem looking down towards half forward. Smith is the target. He's outnumbered 3-1. And 1 stayed down. That was Curley. West Perth playing it pretty well at the moment as it goes back towards half forward and Painter. Higgins could have been paid the mark. Del Borello. Mitchell comes in and takes it at the back of the pack. Del Borello again. And underneath all that, I think, is Mark Brayshaw.
The danger of this is with Claremont having 17 players and West Perth having the loose man. If they go back and procrastinate a bit, it gives Claremont players a chance to man up. So what they've got to do is they've got to play on as they were when they were playing their best footy.
There's still about 14 minutes of this game to go, you know. There was a long delay. Turley's hand pass was smothered. Back he comes. Gets it down to Lambourne in the pocket. His hook is far too shallow and out of bounds on the full.
That was a great second effort there by Craig Turley. You expect that from those type of players, but it's always the second effort that makes separates the ordinary players from the good players. And you can see his first handball was smothered and he put the second effort in and was able to get it out. Lambourne wasn't good enough to finish it off.
He's had a good return by Turley today. He certainly sparked up the West Perth game today that we've rarely seen in the last few seasons. Nelson has been paid the mark over the top of Brayshaw and Clark.
Oh, look at this.
West Perth out of position. Higgins has taken a good mark. Henry goes very short. Edwards turning into trouble. Caught by Simmons, holding the ball.
See, I don't want to be critical of that player, but Henry, remember when we had the Perth Claremont game some time ago, Trevor, and they were coming out of the back line, he kicked those short passes, and Perth ended up rolling Claremont that day, and this is the same thing all over again. They must be more direct.
West Perth are running amok here in the forward line. Lambourne, Miranda, got a beautiful bounce. He goes across square, looking for Mildenhall, but intercepting Higgins, so they've gone far too short there. Miranda should have gone long to the square. Higgins finds Kickett. Away he goes. Through the middle of the ground. Tigers on the move. A kick to the forward line. Muir, Nichols, good shepherd by Downsborough. Buys Muir a bit of time. He snaps a goal and he's kicked it. That's a very good goal by the Tigers. They're one man down, but they certainly, if they go down, they're going to go down fighting.
A great effort there by Claremont. It's just what I said before. I said the danger of West Perth with their 18 players versus Claremont 17. And here you see the run. All you have to do when you're one man short is pick that ball up and run, and West Perth will find themselves out of position. That was Muir actually who kicked that goal, wasn't it? Yes.
Muir
made good ground and a good snap. It made it a little bit harder than they needed to do in the end, but that brings them within, what's that, 7 points, 2 kicks.
Tania Armstrong, what's the report on Malone and Gauci?
Keeping me busy down here, Trevor. Rob Malone is actually back on the ground, so Claremont have 18 players. Southern off with a shoulder injury, a big ice pack on his left shoulder, and Gauci's still unconscious in the room, so they're waiting for him to come to.
Like a scene from Sarajevo down there. It's walking wounded everywhere as the ball's socked forward. The mark not paid to Harvey, and we'll have a bounce at centre half back for Claremont, or centre-half forward for West Perth.
I think Richard Harden would have been dying to hear the whistle there, don't you?
Yes.
Well, it was about 9 3/4 metres, that pass.
There it goes again.
He knew what was coming.
7 points is the margin here at Leederville Oval. The clock's showing about 22 minutes gone, but there's a lot more football left in this game than that. Smith, he did that pretty well, trapped it cleverly. Now's the problem for Claremont. They've got to get their numbers back. Holmes, who hasn't been an influential player today, still in all sorts of strife, goes looking for Smith. He set him a pretty big target. In comes Miranda. He eludes Holmes. Miranda's at left centre wing, looks to half forward. Hasn't done a lot today, Miranda. We haven't seen much of him since quarter time. The hand pass from Harvey's gone astray. He was under pressure. It goes to Curley and turn to Painter. Painter from 45 metres has kicked the sealer. That's the 16th, I think it is, to West Perth. Just waiting for the scoreboard to catch up. Claremont are 14-11. 17. 17-6. Painter's got 2 of the 17. Claremont 14-11.
Well, the numbers are stacked against Claremont here. Curley had all the time in the world. He held on to that until Painter could get a break on his man and was able to finish off for his second goal for the quarter. West Perth looks like they've got the legs, they've got the fitness, and they've got the fit enough 18 players to run this game out.
Saw the difference there. Nelson beaten in the middle of the ground by Higgins. Down to Clem. He's kicked to the forward line. Downsborough couldn't quite hang on. Allowed Tony Edwards in for West Perth, who clears it. And on the half-back flank, it's Curley, run down by Muir, but got his kick in. Milton Hall behind Edwards. Milton Hall does it well. Knocks it to his own advantage. Follows up by booting it into the forward line. O'Brien and Hendry force it over. Crowd have enjoyed this game. There's
Clinton Farmer, the West Perth Reserves coach, Geishan, be wondering why they couldn't use that spare man on the boundary.
Dunsborough up in front, Brayshaw at the back for the Tigers, pushing towards the boundary. Kickett's there also, and so is Del Barello. He's run out of bounds. 13 points to margin. West Perth in the box seat. They beat Claremont twice last year. Claremont didn't have a good season, and when Jared Neeson looks at the stats, if Claremont lose tonight, he would wonder just what's gone wrong this season. Turley threaded his way through and finds Freeman. This year, Claremont beaten by 9 points, 4 points, 2 points, and also have figured in a draw. And once again, they look like going down by a narrow margin. So with most of the first round over, Neesham finds himself with only 1 win and a draw, and it's 6 points out of the 4 if he goes down today. It's Freeman who's kicked free. This will seal it if he puts it through, and I think he's done it. The Falcons will win the ball game as Freeman brings up number 4, and they haven't had much to cheer about since 1975.
Well, a good effort here by West Perth. They really started the game hard. You can see they're still working. Claremont are undermanned. Turley has had a big influence on this game today. Sees the situation, and Freeman, who's in some doubt with an injury, was able to present himself and kick the goal. You can see Swan Districts have got the game sewn up. Subi have beaten the Sharks by the looks, and Perth still some fight in against South Fremantle.
West Perth lead by 19 points as it's taken by Miranda. Gets the hand pass away to a teammate in Curley, who kicks up towards the half-forward line. Chance now for Ballantyne. Oh, Holmes was coming into Shepherd, finished up with the ball. Hand pass goes back in the direction of Ballantyne. Malone lumbering after it. Malone is not well, and in normal circumstances wouldn't be on the ground. But Claremont have 2 other players who can't come back. So the throw-in is at right centre wing for the Tigers. It's 18-6 to 14-11. West Perth lead. Higgins with clean possession, but then lost it. Now it's with Beresford. He wanted a hand pass. There was no one to give it to. Simmons comes in, takes the ball. He has Miranda ahead of the play. Miranda in turn can go to Turley. Tried to do a little bit too much. Put Turley under pressure, but he's good enough. Kicks the ball in towards centre-half forward, and Simmons. And the fire and fight has gone out of the Tigers now as Freeman streams back into the pocket. He's made a good recovery. I think the thought of some easy goals late in the piece is spurring him on, Noel.
Full forwards grab a leg when the ball keeps coming down there.
It's through for a minor score.
Simmons misses.
Well, 27 minutes have elapsed. I'm not sure if that's taking time into account. I'm sure it isn't. We'll have a lot more play left in this game than that because of the delay while Malone and Gauci were being taken off the ground. This is Panizza. Perhaps one last rush forward by Claremont towards half forward. Good mark to Smith.
Jones hasn't been outmarked too many times today.
Downsborough is the only player in the full forward area for Claremont. Smith tried to play on. He wasn't able to get around anyone, and Damon takes a good mark.
He's a courageous player, isn't he?
Told you wouldn't go off. You'd need a truck to get him off the ground.
I mean, he's 5'6", and he's taken a mark in front of that pack.
That's a good mark. He goes square. Mildenhall's been a good player today. You must be impressed with him, Noel.
Yes, I'm impressed with his pace, and he uses the ball pretty well. He's a thinker, gives direction.
Painter outmarked this time by Hendry, but it must have been touched off the boot. The umpire wants it.
I think he's saying it was touched in the marking contest.
Well, I think Painter might have got his fingertips to it.
That happens most marking contests, doesn't it?
Gauci earlier today. And poor old Gauci's off the ground. Concussed, Matthew Gauci. Malone. Where is Malone? Have we seen him since he came back on?
Yes, he was here. He's over
He'd be
there
hiding somewhere.
He's at centre half forward at the moment.
He wouldn't know too much about the game, I wouldn't imagine. Higgins hooks around his body. Smith runs hard at the ball, then finds Mitchell with a good hand pass. Mitchell goes long and finds Leach.
He saw Leach slip down the back.
Beautifully
I'm sure
used.
he did a great pass.
Intelligent football by Mitchell. And Leach has been a handy player today. From 25 metres, he should kick a goal. Drops it neatly onto the boot and makes no mistake. And as I said, if the Tigers go down, they'll be going down fighting. There's no way they're going to throw in the towel, Noel.
No, they're not. And one player who's really battling this game out is Peter Higgins. He's been a very good, solid contributor. That ruck was won by him, got it to Mitchell. And Mitchell, he's a very elusive player, very clever player. I mean, 3 or 4 players in front of that pass, and he picked out Leach over the back. Leach had enough nous to run into that position, and Mitchell picked him straight out. He was able to kick the goal, but a little bit too much ground to make up now for Claremont, I believe. 14
points is the margin. Chance for Mitchell to knock Claremont forward again. Still he goes. Kickett's with him if he needs him. Mitchell trying to do a lot. He was taken high and will get the kick. No advantage there in the opinion of the umpire, or there was some doubt about it, so he's made the right decision. Mitchell is just ahead of the centre line. I guess there'd be 2 or 3 minutes left. I don't think there's enough time for them to kick 3 goals. As Mitchell kicks inside full forward, they need a mark from someone like Downsborough, but Nelson was up in front. Now Clem has been tripped, so Claremont are dying hard. Clem was down with cramp a few minutes ago. He's obviously finding the bigger ground here at Leederville Oval. A little bit more.
Well, there's no check side here, so he's got nowhere to hide.
A little bit more taxing than the Adelaide grounds that he's been playing on, although they're very heavy, very similar to Victorian grounds, the Adelaide grounds. As he shoots from about 45 metres, he kicked into the man on the mark.
He can't lift his leg.
Now Nelson, Mifka on the side of the pack. He'll kick from just behind the 50-metre line, up in the direction of Lambourne. And Lambourne will hold things up as long as he can. Mitchell being brought back on the mark. Lambourne is at left half-back. Gets it down towards centre wing. Downsborough in front. Brayshaw over the top. Could almost have been paid the mark. Turley off the ground. Out in front of Painter. Valentine after him, but he had support from Mildenhall. This wouldn't sit for him. Fends off the tackler, Valentine. Puts it out in front of Freeman. And Westperth looked best, I think, when Peter Freeman is at full forward. He offers himself. He charges at the ball. He's a good long kick. Can kick goals. While they might like him in defence, he is their best option in the forward line.
They continue to kick goals while they use the ball like that.
Well, when they get the first use out of the centre and they can bring the ball down in some sort of direction like that, yes, he looks good. But I saw him 2 weeks in a row where he looked real bad when Westperth couldn't get the ball.
So Freeman will kick from just outside 50 metres. In fact, from a fair way outside 50 metres. But he really can give the ball a roost. There's the siren. I wondered what the cheer was for. I thought it must have been a goal.
That was Trevor Jenkins.
Is that what it was? There's the siren. Westperth have won by 14 points, 18-7 to 15-11. So a good final quarter from the Falcons. They looked as though they had thrown this game away after a brilliant opening term, but they've hung on in a fairly taxing contest to win by 14 points.
Goal scorers in this game. Freeman, who just about kicked the goal there off the last kick of the match, finished with 4. Ian Downsborough, Hall, Miranda, Painter, all with 2. Miranda, a player of the future. Miranda, I should say. For Claremont, Downsborough and Mitchell both with 3. Muir and Clem with 2 apiece. Well, Hendry didn't have a great game today for the Tigers. He was one of the passengers in the team. But they certainly came back with a lot of typical Claremont know-how in that second term. It was a close third quarter and a hard-fought final quarter. But West Perth just with that little bit of edge. And I think the faces there tell the story as far as the West Perth victory this afternoon. Craig Turley's downstairs. Triumphant comeback for him today. He's with Tania Armstrong.
Yeah, it's good. I always enjoy playing with West Perth. It's always good to play the winning side. The boys do really well.
You look fit. Were you confident you're throwing off your injury problems?
Yeah, feeling pretty good. Yeah, it's good to I need to get a few games under my belt, but I felt a lot better today, so it's good to get through it.
It's hard coming back. There's probably a few faces you're not too familiar with.
Yeah, I trained with the boys on Thursday for the first time, so yeah, we had a really good night on Thursday night, and Jeff and the club was great. They all welcomed me back with open arms and make it really easy for me.
Thanks very much, Craig.
Tania Armstrong with Craig Turley. And there's some emotional scenes here at West Perth, Leederville Oval. Last season at Leederville as the Falcons leave. And I think they're going to beat some good sides this year, Noel, judging by that performance today.
Yes, well, Geeshan's installed some confidence in these players. It's like they've won a premiership here. I mean, it's very hard to hear yourself talk. The grandstands erupted as the players are leaving. It's very hard to concentrate, but it's certainly Geesham's got his players to concentrate very well today. I thought they started the game very well. They finished the game off very well to boot. They kicked 5 goals in the last quarter to Claremont's 2. I know that Claremont had a couple of injury problems, but I always felt that West Perth had the run in their legs. He's got them very fit, Neesham. Geesham, I'm sorry. He's weeded out a few of their weaknesses, and he's built on their strengths. But the most important thing is I think the players are starting to believe they can win football games.
Yeah, that's very important. They've found out where the winning post is. The thing that does worry me a little bit, though, Noel, is the fact that they haven't got a great deal of depth. If they get a heavy lot of injuries, they could find themselves in trouble.
Well, and the other thing is, too, if the Eagles will happen to pinch Craig Turley and Derek Hall from their side, that makes them a little thin. And you're right, the depth is probably because their reserves got beaten by 29 or 30 goals today. So you can, from that score, you can see there's not a lot there. So he's working with the bare minimum and doing a very good job. Oh, not so much so bad as I don't think West Perth are situated. But I mean, you take, if they happen to lose Nelson, their number 1 ruckman, who I thought battled hard, but Higgins won the points on the day, even though he didn't start on him until the second quarter.
Well, a little supporter there. Let's check the other ground. Swans will beat East Perth. Subiaco have caused the boil-over of the season by toppling the Sharks. And South look as though they'll hang on to that game against the Demons down at Fremantle Oval.
Subi's first win?
Yes, Subi's first win. Swans still remain undefeated, and they clash with East Fremantle next week in what certainly will be the game of the day. You saw West Perth start. It was brilliant, and it was very exciting for those in the stands to watch that first quarter of football. But the Tigers came back. The third quarter was even, and in a hard-fought last quarter, where Leederville Oval looked like a battlefield at some stages, West Perth finally saw it out to win by their margin of 14 points. To summarise, with his 3 best from each club, Noel Carter again. Noel?
Well, I thought West Perth, none did better than Craig Turley. I thought Greg Jones across the half-back line really had a good battle with Smith, but he was real solid in defence. And then for the next one, I'd like to throw 3 players, and I thought Milton, Hall, Painter, O'Brien and Lambourne all did very well across that centre in their various negating roles or attacking roles using the ball. A little bit harder to find Claremont good players. I thought Kevin Mitchell, he's a very experienced player, he's an exciting player. He kept them when they looked like falling away. Each time they did do that, he sparked them, got them going, along with Malone in some instances. I thought Higgins was very good in the ruck. I thought he beat Nelson on the day. Nelson looked tired towards the end, and I thought Higgins got over him quite a bit. And I thought for the rest of them, Darren Clem,
Not a bad return by Claremont.
Not a bad return. Still going at the end. Obviously, you know, as we called it.
Certainly would have known he's back in WA.
Yeah, it's a different type of football, a lot more open, and he'd have a lot more ground to cover and will improve from the run.
And West Perth, can they go on from here?
West Perth are in the 5.
But can they go
I think
a little bit further than previous years?
I think that, well, I think they've got a lot of improvement. I think they're going to make a big improvement, and they just wouldn't want to improve a small step. They need to go further than that because we haven't got that much time from the marked time. I think that they've got some good players. They've got some exciting players. They've recruited a few Victorians, some guys with a bit of run. Mildenhall's exciting. Lambourne's pretty good. Edwards, a few of the other guys. And I think that they're starting to believe in themselves. And when people start believing in themselves, that's when they're very hard to knock off.
Thanks, Noel. Hope you enjoyed our coverage today. A very exciting game of football, won by the Falcons. See you next week.